Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 8080. I'm AJ.
And I'm Steve.
Steve, who we brought to you today by?
The 13th month of 2020.
Yeah, fucking sucks.
My house is a bit plagued right now between health issues of disease, war, famine, and getting my hand almost cut off. It's almost better, folks. Got 5 stitches, so that's my first time in adult life doing that. Mm-hmm. So if ever you need to remove a toll pass off a windshield, please do be careful.
Well, Steve, before we go any further with any news, unless you got, I don't want to keep our people waiting. We have not only our second time we've had 4 people in this room, but it's our first female guests. We've got Carin and Colleen Shikutek.
Oh, you got it!
Yeah,
wow,
I got mine too.
I am impressed.
We have two of the hardest last names to pronounce.
I'm gonna need a pronunciation guide for this one because mine's Nix, spelled Nix. 6 straight lines and you're done.
I wanted to make sure I got it right. Okay, so yeah, and also the 2 hardest guests we've ever had to pronounce names for. Welcome aboard, ladies.
The karaoke ball app on the TV screen did very well for you.
Yep. So I think we're going to have to already scoot Colleen closer to that microphone, or we could just scoot the microphone closer to Colleen. Either one is okay.
Well, she's a little short, so you're going to have to.
She's taller than my wife is. I think you're taller than Emily. We didn't do the height check on the door sill before we got in.
I'm 5'2" on a good day. So.
Well, very, very glad to have you guys.
I like to say I'm 6'2".
Nice.
Well, Steve, you got any other news for us before we get started? Sorry to interrupt you, but I didn't want them to just sit there awkwardly.
Oh, sure. Other oddities, the feline check engine lights and a Jeep Grand Cherokee coin slot designed in the form of an SD card.
Oh?
Weird things found at work that I couldn't figure out how to get rid of, so had to send on to the next guy. Like, yeah, fix or replace this, thanks.
So, what are we drinking, ladies? You've brought a bunch of stuff to...
Okay, we did bring a bunch of stuff. So what we're starting with is the 10W40 jelly donut. Mm-hmm. And it's really good. It actually tastes like a jelly donut, which is weird. It doesn't have a strong stout flavor, so it's good because it really tastes nice and smooth. Which I thought it might be a little harsh because... wow, I don't think I've ever been told I am not loud enough, which is kind of crazy to me.
Give it some time.
Yeah, true enough.
Or not well enough received for such loudness. Is that it?
It could be. Sometimes I'm a little harsh, I'll admit, but I try. But yeah, it's really smooth. So Carin and I have been waiting for a long time to try this.
Yeah, we really like the 10W40. I mean, we're like stout drinkers in general, and so these stouts are fantastic. But we stopped at Pintville, which is a bar down in
Pineville,
which is fantastic, and they carry a bunch of these. So we went at the end of last year, and we picked up a couple, and we have been waiting for them to tap the jelly donut and one more, a horchata 10W40. So.
We've had the horchata on here before in cans.
Is it good?
Everything 10W40 is fantastic.
Good point. Fun fact, that's right down the street from the next nearest closed Sears.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Carolina Mall, Carolina Place Mall.
Anything with Carolina in it's gonna die.
There's still one in Greensboro, and the next auto center is in Raleigh. So if you need to go to Sears Auto Center, the one I think it's in Wake Forest outside of Raleigh is still open.
Like Wake Forest City, not Wake Forest University.
Exactly, not Winston-Salem.
Yes.
The stupid moving schools.
Are they associated with the Sears department store? Is it
that is the same thing?
Under the same umbrella.
Apparently, the one in Greensboro still is a Sears store, barely, and the next nearest auto center, I presume with store attached, is in Raleigh. Because they had signs on the garage at the Carolina Mall versus Carolina Place Mall.
Think about this.
Like two malls, same place. Yeah, that.
Yes. PP.
Things to do in a mall. What?
Remember PP when you think about Pineville. Actually,
Planned
Colleen,
Parenthood.
you live in Pineville, don't you?
I do live in Pineville.
That makes more sense. Yeah, either way, 2 malls in Carolina, 2 dead Sears.
Yes, and a partridge. Like every 10W40 we've had. So we've had on pod. We've had the Neapolitan, horchata, some kind of brownie, something. I think maybe I I don't know all the
I
flavors.
don't even keep
We
up
have
on
flavors.
tap
We
on
also brought
knowing
the-
what we have on here.
The Mexican hot chocolate too.
Oh,
Had that.
girl. They brought
Caramba.
bombers, and we usually just have. Normally, that's a lot more full, but it's been a hard couple weeks.
Well, we were so
thankfully.
excited to be your first female guest. We're like, listen, we can't like come in with crappy beer and crappy whiskey. So
Absolutely.
here we
Speaking
are.
of,
And so
speaking of, we have you guys brought some whiskey too.
Those
So.
are these tear gas canisters? They're
Yeah.
they make me so happy I'm going to cry.
So this one is the High West Midwinter's Night Dram, which is a rye whiskey. It's a seasonal thing that they do out of High West in Utah.
I've
And
had
then
the standard one. It was
the
fantastic.
old Ezra 7-year barrel strength. Which
Is that one better than Ezra?
I mean,
It was good. Good.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Good.
So, which one's your
Good.
favorite?
personally, I mean, I love the Midwinters because I'm a rye drinker all day, every day. But this bourbon, the 7-year, is I think it's like 100 and I don't even know the proof on it. 117 proof maybe. But
Let's do
it
that one
is-
first.
It is strong stuff. So
Let's do it.
you want to do it?
Yeah.
All right.
So you got your Glencairn from Kentucky when you went.
Yeah,
Right.
Sean and I, my fiance and I, we did the Bourbon Trail back in September maybe.
Right.
And so
I'm jealous.
every distillery that we went to, we picked up a Glencairn along the way. So we ended up with like 13.
I'm so jealous. I had to order my Glencairn, but it has my name, my initial on it. So
Oh, nice.
One of your
That's a
four.
hefty pour. Sorry.
it's okay. We're here to party. I don't have to. I have the shortest commute home, so
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
I was a little bit worried. Honestly, I was like, well, they want to do it during the week. We usually when we have a guest, they usually like to do it on the weekend. So this is
But you also have the good fortune of your first shows in forever popping up. So you do
well,
what you got to do
two
with
got
that.
canceled. Two of my show. Well, I canceled 2 of them I will explain after we try this. Ooh, that smells great.
Air cheers.
Air cheers.
Ka-dink, 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 ka-dink.
cheers, clink.
Oh my goodness!
That's really good.
It's really good, right?
Where'd you guys get that from?
I don't actually know. We picked it up somewhere around here. We might have picked it up at Frugal McDougal or one of those places across the state line.
I've never been to Frugal.
You
I go
neither-
to State Line
That
Elite.
is
I'll go to State Line Elite.
sacrilege. You know they do liquor tastings.
Yeah,
Like, oh my gosh, that
At-
is
at Frugal?
Yeah,
State Line
On,
Elite
like,
does too.
on
Have you been?
Saturdays.
Have you been to State Line
I
Elite?
have not been to State Line. Ian has been to State Line, but I have not been.
Are
to
they
State
still
Line.
doing them
That's for
even
fun.
in
The
the
JP Weiser's
pandemic,
caramel
though?
was awesome.
They
Yeah.
were doing where they had them in like they were using like I always think of them as Jello shot containers or like salad dressing containers. But that's so they would give you that.
Somebody
so they weren't
partied in
using
college.
It's your
glasses.
communion shots. Enjoy.
State Line does something called the booze letter, and it's Keith who he sends you 1 email a week. That's it. He writes it. He's like, my favorite drink of the week. Here's what's coming this week, and he'll give you like a okay. Our truck comes Wednesday. We're only getting this amount. If you're reading this, get here right now because it's going to be gone. Or hey, we got a lot of this. Come by the end of the week. He's really really nice guy, and if you tell him what you like, he's never he doesn't upsell you on anything. I was in there, I just couldn't decide. He's like, dude, get that. I was like, really? I was like, it's only $25. He's like, get that. It's delicious. I'm like,
And there-
okay. And then you got a lifelong customer, buddy.
And
Yes.
by the way, bring cash. It's cheaper.
It is cheaper. There was one
Why
bottle
is
that was
that?
like $700.
Processing
And then-
fees.
Yeah.
Processing
Not
fees?
most places won't upcharge for processing fees, but that's likely why.
I feel like I see that a lot in South Carolina for whatever reason.
It is a lot of times in South Carolina because we end up we live right on the border, so we end up going into South Carolina a lot, and so like when we grocery shop and things like that, there's always an upcharge, and it's very interesting. And I guess it's just processing.
You
fees.
see,
Well,
I've
that's
noticed it a
kinda like
lot
when you
with
can't
gas
use-
stations too,
Yeah.
particularly like going towards Atlanta. You see the cash and credit prices differ, maybe by 5 cents or a dime.
Well, then that's like certain stores where they like don't accept certain credit cards because the processing fees are so high, which I always found so awkward when I worked in retail, like being like, I can't actually take that card
Yeah.
because we don't accept
My
it.
bad.
And it's like, is it MasterCard or Visa? Because this Disco and Amex are out of here, y'all.
Very out of it. When was the last time you saw an American Express card?
No.
I feel
More
like
like
I've
a
seen
traveler
Sean
check.
has to.
Yeah,
'Cause
Sean
nobody's
has one.
traveling.
I'm like, wait, I think I know who has it.
That's actually the
Like,
previous carrier.
But I think
for
that was a
the,
long time ago. Though, so.
That was actually the previous carrier for the Costco credit card. Then when it became Visa, that's when I jumped and get my $150 back because I've spent so much 4% back on gas, y'all.
Hey.
For those in the know, one of our first guests was her fiance, Sean.
Hey.
And we didn't do live videos then, and now we do. And the live videos have actually been a hit. Thank you. Please, nobody call me. I'm not going to be able to pick the phone up. I got a lot of news to cover, which is weird. So, I guess... All right, episode 80's news. Taco Works and Tio Rodrigo released tortilla chip beer, a lager brewed with 400 pounds of fresh from the oven tortilla chips with a hint of lime, 5% ABV.
No.
Now, listen. At a Mexican place.
Okay, so I'm also thinking about this with the screwball peanut butter whiskey. How if you put salt on it, it makes it taste that much better, or like a Corona, if you put salt in it, it kind of ups it. So I'm like, maybe that salty flavor might elevate it, but then I'm very nervous.
Like a yeasty, bready flavor to it. I guess
I'm on it.
In the case of cheaper beers being made with corn, it's not terribly far off.
True.
Or have you ever put lemon vodka into your Corona?
So you're going to make like a
vodka.
Boilermaker.
Okay.
Stay away from vodka.
Okay, the Boilermaker variant of Corona is fantastic.
True.
Add about an ounce to it.
Well, if you Boilermaker it and just put a nice, I don't know, let's tequila.
That could work.
I'm down.
It could be something like a
Add tequila to everything.
or one of those agave beers.
Yeah.
Are awesome. Too bad the Dos Equis Azul vanished 3 years ago, and was only available as part of a Costco mix pack with the, regular Dos Equis.
Guess where Taco Works and Tio Rodrigo are from?
San Antonio.
Seattle, Washington. I'm just kidding. It's Texas.
It doesn't say whereabouts.
Seattle wouldn't be that weird, actually.
Let's see whereabouts in Texas, though.
The Republican parts.
I think I would have to know how they're making it. How are you getting that chip flavor in there?
They're throwing all the
Just
chips in it,
tossing a bunch
evidently.
of chips in there.
400 pounds of fresh chips, fresh from the oven.
Okay, so think about a soggy chip. That's on my head. I'm
but
like,
the flavor, it's not the texture of it, right? It's the flavor.
Yeah, they drained it all out.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's going to be a crunchy beer.
Like when they have coffee
Well,
in the
yeah,
beer.
I mean-
It's like you have coffee all over your fucking face. So bad.
We went to a local distillery recently, not distillery, brewery recently, and they had an oyster stout on the board. And we were talking to them about how they made it, and and the brewer was like, "Well, he's like, literally, we throw 1 million oysters and like clam juice in, and it like brews with that in there."
I never thought of an oyster stout being its own clamato. Hold the tomato.
But
Oh
we,
my gosh, a Clamato
yeah, we
juice
were.
is a whole nother story.
You
I
know-
love Clamato juice. I
more
grew
for
up
you.
on it, and it's a weird thing that
What's your stance
I don't
on
think I've ever
Bloody
had it.
Marys?
Oh, I love Bloody Marys.
Me too. All
And
right.
and growing up, I grew up on Caesars, which uses essentially a Bloody Mary using Clamato juice. So that's what I'm used to. So it just, I don't know, things
Bloody
you grow up with
Marias
it when you're a
here all
child,
day.
you're just like, oh, I like it now.
Yeah, Bloody Marias for me, please. Thank you. Tequila.
More for you guys.
I'll take my own gin.
I made a, I don't think it has a special name, but I made a Bloody Mary with whiskey, which was really good.
What?
Oh, it's delicious. I didn't think it was going to work, and I looked it up, and I was like, I'll try it.
Yeah, I
'Cause
guess-
I usually more so have whiskey on hand than vodka or anything else, so I was like, why not? And it was actually really good. You couldn't really taste the difference, to be honest.
You can't go wrong with whiskey.
No, I have one bottle of vodka downstairs, and I didn't even buy it. Mark was a guest on the show and left it here, and that's the only. And it's the Doc Porter's vodka. It was actually pretty good. I mean, it's vodka.
At least it's a craft vodka.
It's paint thinner.
Yeah.
Like that's what vodka. I mean,
Yeah,
what
let's be
do you
honest.
remember what Ron Swanson said about clear alcohols are for rich white women on diets?
That was
I'm not going to lie.
that was
I know a
my
lot
buddy, my
I'm
dead
like-
friend Nick's. That was his diet for a while.
Oh, Lord.
He fell on difficult times.
Well, and I think until I started realizing, like, as I got older, that you could drink, like, I went for a really long time, like, you could only mix drinks. Like, it was like, I never really drank things straight. So when I realized, like, I can drink whiskey straight, that's a game changer. That has just the same amount of calories. Let me go.
Fuck yeah. Well, I told Steve and I've talked before, like, now I've gotten into bourbon a lot lately. Like, if I want a nightcap or something, drinking a whole pint of beer after dinner, I'm like, it's too fucking filling, man. Mm-hmm. Drinking a little bit of something like that, and it knocks me out a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm. And listen, this might just be being judgmental, but I feel like there's a big difference between somebody who drinks whiskey neat and somebody who drinks vodka neat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a line there.
I never really thought about it like that. But
you can think about it.
So what Carin said is, fuck you, Russia.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I attempted to take Russian at the end of high school, senior year. Not enough takers.
They offered you that in school?
Paige had all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I wound up taking 3 years of German through distance learning. I was at Paige, and the actual teacher was at Northwest Guilford, about 20 miles away.
I'm hot already.
You're always hot.
I know.
And never minded about it.
Well,
I'm a bit toasty too, but flannel shirt. Whoops.
God damn it. I'm not. If you're, like, we had to turn the table because we wanted to get the ladies more room. We didn't want to shoehorn them in all together. Next up, Forbes predicts the next big craft trend in beer will be non-alcoholic beer.
I actually agree with that.
No, I
At the
so agree
same
with
time.
it. Because here's the thing. I have two children.
Budweiser started doing it.
And I will tell... No way because Budweiser's still doing it. Because here's the thing. I don't like Budweiser, so I'm not going to drink a Budweiser non-alcoholic beer. And so I've had two children, and I've been out, and famously at the Saucer, they dug a non-alcoholic beer that was made by Guinness for me. And they found it came out dusty. They found that baby for me because it's one of those social things. And when you're used to going out and drinking socially and then you become pregnant, you're like, well, I still kind of want a beer. Like, you want that experience.
Right.
And so I can totally see that being a trend because I think more women are actually getting into beer and different types of craft beer. And so I think as that gets more popular, they're going to have to come up with that.
Back a few weeks ago when we had the Saturday night gathering at Saucer, Mike and I tried the non-alcoholic from, I think, Boulevard. Mm-hmm. It didn't suck.
Interesting.
And I figured, like, well, if I'm going to be driving, I need to at least try to temper myself for once. It's like, it's turn of the year, so I'm trying to act a little better.
I see that.
So
I never thought about that.
Tried that
point,
for cutting my hand open. So
you got another one.
Take the good with the bad.
You got another one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
had I cut my right hand, that would have really sucked.
I mean, and there's things kind of like when, again, back to pregnancy, but when you first become pregnant, you don't necessarily want to tell people. And that was like the hardest thing for me. And I had to essentially lie. And I remember drinking like a ginger ale and saying it was spiked. So like being able to order a non-alcoholic beer and have a beer and it looked like a beer is pretty cool.
I mean, we were up at the mountains with some friends at the end of last year, and one of our friends was pregnant, but only 2 months in. So she wasn't telling anybody, but the very first night we all got there and we were like, oh yeah, party. Like we all pulled out, we were making mixed drinks and she poured some cranberry juice and I was like, I know what's going on here, and she probably wasn't ready to tell people, but she kind of had to because here we were on a weekend getaway to drink. And I am all about the non-alcoholic.
Oh yeah.
For lots of reasons.
Well, and like one of the things I get all my friends when I find out they're pregnant is a book called Pregotinis because it's non-alcoholic mixed drinks. Because that was my lifeline. Because I felt like I was missing something, and I could have a cranberry juice and a Sprite in it and feel like I was cool.
Do you think the non-alcoholic beers though are going to come like this trend, right? Do you think that that's going to come from craft breweries, or do you think that that's going to come from like the major chains first?
The major chains have already had several of them already.
Yeah, you got Heineken,
Bud,
Guinness has one. Beck's has one.
Boulevard's probably the first craft one I've seen do that.
Craft always takes it and then jacks it up to about 14.
I can see the likes of Lenny Boy doing it since they already have a strong kombucha scene, which is inherently non-alcoholic.
That's true, yeah. So
that would...
I'm just thinking, are there... we have 60 breweries or whatever in Charlotte and surrounding areas. Like, do any of them currently make non-alcoholic beers that we know of?
No, the closest, like I said, is Lenny Boy's glorified vinegar.
I would rather stick that rubber band ball in my body and not in my mouth than drink a kombucha. I hate.
Oh, really? I like it.
It depends on the kombucha. Some of them are awful. But
I've tried so many. We have a lot of them at work. A lot of different brands. And I'll like, ooh, Pink Lady Apple kombucha. I fucking love apples. Good. It's horrible.
So, thanks to getting the hang of apple cider vinegar for my beloved acid reflux, I've at least gotten the hang of that. Mm-hmm. So they would absolutely bother me less.
True.
Apparently, Lagunitas has one, though, too. So.
So what you're saying, they need to
I'm
have
sorry,
an
Steve,
NA.
I keep cutting you off. I'll stop.
He's practically married. He's used to it.
It's not my show. It's not his show. It's our show.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something to chime in, please chime forth.
Well, this was actually Mac texting me, so he's
yeah.
listening too.
Hey, Mac is participating.
Hey, Mac.
Stop texting while driving, boy.
So what Colleen was saying is there needs to be an NA beer for men to drink, and then the PW, which is pregnant woman. Like, I'll have the Miller PW. Or and it sounds, ooh, what's that fancy new concoction? Mm-hmm. You know what hasn't caught on? NA spirits.
Oh.
Here, drink this really old corn. No,
Mark. No, I think your best bet there is this really strong ginger ale, like whatever. Verner's just tasted weird. It was too sweet.
Really?
But no, like the
else.
extra spicy Reeds or the Blenheim, something that really kicks you in the teeth.
Jesus, what if we did a Blenheim Burnham thing?
Go on.
The Burnham wheat whiskey with oh my god. Fuck you, taste buds. Okay, doke. Grey Sail Brewing off of Rhode Island will be first in the States.
They make the captain's daughter, which is awesome. Carry on.
I'm telling
It's an
Kaylin
island.
you said that.
She's aware of this beer too, because Ryan's there.
They will be first in the state of Rhode Island to capture CO2 waste emissions from their plant and reuse it to carbonate their beer. I never thought about that before.
I've never thought about it, but it is a really good idea. But I'm wondering,
well, how much
how do
CO2?
you
This
do
just reminds
that?
me.
Like, how do you? I guess you would have to have some type of pipe system inside the thing because it would have inside the.
There are zero engineers in this studio.
Yeah,
So-
I'm no help.
Phone a friend?
No help on this
I'm
topic.
a very engineer dropout, and my chemistry know-how is nuh-uh.
Yeah.
NA.
Well,
I
and
got
I'm
nothing.
wondering if, like, because they'd be doing that, if they would qualify for some type of like assistance from the government, like,
Probably.
because they're saving that,
And also,
like a tax break,
Rhode
yeah,
Island's
like
a
a
very
tax break,
progressive
something like
state,
that, where
too.
that would.
Yeah, you drop a drop. If you drive a electric car, you get like the $8,000 tax credit. It's probably something, but what I was wondering that too. But I was wondering more about how much CO2 emissions come from brewing.
Right. Yeah.
Like what?
A lot.
Really?
You have to think about it. Like, so.
Well,
I don't know.
Heat, just to generate enough heat for things being boiled along the way. You just think you turn it on and it goes.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's power bill, somebody's gas bill is going up in that process as well.
Also, when you're making it, like, I remember we made one time, we bottled our own beer. And when you open that up, there's so much CO2 in it. When you open it, you can shatter the glass. So think about that on a larger scale. There's a ton in there. And so it's not all needed to create a good beer when it's poured, because it just kind of sits at the top, right? That pressure.
Yeah. If they're using it from the manufacturer, I was wondering, is it the manufacturing? So when you're manufacturing, I have no idea how brewing works. I just like tasting it. I don't know how. So how much CO2 is made from making the beer? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I don't know. What do you think when you boil things, like all that CO2 that's coming out?
Yeah.
If you some way harnessed, like the like I'm thinking about liquor, but like the mash, if you harness that lift off, I guess you could. I don't know.
You can tell. You can now.
CO2 balloons.
Ooh. You know, if you take.
They're just going to be heavier than standard air.
Well, I think I can't remember the concoction. Yeah, dude. If you put aluminum foil and Drano in somewhere and then put a balloon on the top, it fills the balloon with hydrogen. You tie it off and tie it up and then light the balloon on. It will make the loudest fucking boom you've ever heard in your time.
Wait, have you done this yourself?
We actually did it in high school.
Oh my god,
Mr. Teeter.
Oh, okay, in a controlled environment.
You
with
said
a teacher.
Mr.
He
Wizard.
said,
Awful funny.
cover your ears.
I mean,
and somebody did. He's like, I said, cover your ears.
Well, like, because like we do where you take a bottle of water and you just put Alka-Seltzer in it and it can fill up the balloon.
Mm-hmm.
So if an Alka-Seltzer is giving off enough gas, you would think beer would, anything would, really, right? And so if you can harness that and somehow save yourself some money.
Did you say they're the first brewery in the States or the first one
in Rhode Island?
in that state?
Yeah,
so other breweries are doing it then, maybe?
That's how it was worded. That's interesting. I mean, how much would that cost up front to get...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's like putting solar panels on your house. Like, it's
I don't know.
going to save you money eventually.
Like, it's not like my future brother-in-law has been single-handedly keeping them in business, but it's thanks to having visited him 2 years ago that I'm aware of their product, and it definitely does not suck.
It definitely does not. We need to get Colleen the pop star mic that comes right here, because when she will talk to you, and then she'll turn to Car.
Well, you have to realize, so I am a teacher, so I teach all day, and so I'm constantly moving my head.
Understood.
And I did get a mic for myself that goes right in front of my mouth.
Oh, nice.
So it goes with me wherever I go.
You can actually tell your students, you're the quietest one here. You're the teal right there, and you have the quietest one.
My kids will freak out because I am so to the point where my daughter and I right now, because of virtual learning, we're in the same office, and my daughter will look at me and go, Mommy, shh, you're too loud.
How old is she?
She's 5.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm like, I'm the quietest one.
You're the well, here.
By the way, there is a pair of noise-canceling headphones seeing no use in here, so if she needs those, you're on your own for the AAAs to run it, but
speak louder
go
if
for
you've
it.
got them on, right? Because you're trying to, like, I can't hear.
I think you should be happy that I'm the quietest. I'm not going to lie to you about it. Because Colleen does get very loud.
Just give it another beer.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that.
There's one more, the jelly donut, and then...
It is dealer's choice. You guys brought the pain. Like,
there's the Mexican.
You bought us the tickets to the ride. We'll get on whatever ride you want us to get on.
I didn't bring detergent, so I don't have no gain.
I'll turn the tide for you.
Okay, so we're going to do the Purely Intentional by Noda Brewing.
Oh, the coffee one.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck
Which
yes.
I haven't had it before, so that's
Is
why I
that
tried
made
it.
with Pure Intentions coffee? Some brand I've heard of along the way?
Mm-hmm.
I think it must
Probably.
be, yeah, because that's a local coffee
place.
store.
Downtown.
Is that
Uptown.
It's uptown or
I think so. I think it's right on Tryon.
I'm sorry, what?
downtown?
This is not a
Downtown.
Billy Joel.
Uptown.
It is actually
It's not a Billy
technically-
Joel song.
It is called Uptown because the
on
sign outside says Uptown.
It says that,
Because
and it's on a hill.
The
Yeah,
terrain's
but people
higher
like
than
to
what I
laugh
was
at that.
They do.
Yeah, I will still.
And fuck you, Cincinnati. Charlotte's the Queen City.
What
There's
are
a
they for,
meme.
Queen Cindy?
News. There's a meme taking over the craft beer marketing scene. You've seen him. You love him. What is the meme that is taking over the craft beer scene?
Bernard.
Bernie.
Bernard Sanders, our favorite socialist man.
Why did all of the breweries all of a sudden like glom on to that meme? I mean, literally, he's in
because-
all of their pictures.
trends.
Oh, it makes sense because they're trying to get outdoor business. So they're like, if Bernie can sit outside, you can sit outside too.
I guess that
with
makes
your
sense. I
mittens.
didn't think
Like
about that.
when everything has to be outdoors, especially like up north,
Yeah.
when like there's no indoor dining for essentially.
It was funny because
Put on your parka and your mittens. We're
which
gonna
is
make
funny
it.
because today as we record this, it's slightly rainy but 55 out. It's quite comfortable. Or a very wintry day in Los Angeles.
I forgot it was the outdoor dining, and then they could only eat outdoors, but then they cover it. It was like, so you can only eat outdoors unless you're indoors. Like, you might as well not even do the outdoor if you're going to cover the fucking patio. It's
Well, hold on. What do you mean cover? Like
so it was
So, like
tarp-
the tent,
tarps,
like the
yeah,
tarp
they
goes
cut-
down.
the tenting,
like
yeah.
Midwood Smokehouse patio, where they completely enclose it, and that's the not Midwood, but there were certain
you.
places like in Southern California doing that. Like,
got it. So you're talking in terms of COVID, not
yeah,
in terms
for
like
COVID.
like
It's
before COVID.
Why would you close the indoor dining and only have outdoor, and then close in the outdoor, and that makes it an indoor dining
guess
area?
That's a fair
That's
point.
true, but I do love the idea of these igloos.
What?
Come
wait.
go
Have
ahead.
you not?
No.
seen it? Okay, so there are certain breweries, and I think actually there's one in Charlotte. Give me a second to think about it because I might remember the name, but they're doing like igloos that so it's like the picnic table,
those.
and then it's
Yep.
the igloo around it. So then you can go in with your party and sit in the igloo, and it's heated.
Interesting.
And
So
so
it's not made of actual
I was
ice
gonna say
brick.
heated
It's the
igloo.
doghouse igloo. And
Feels
you just,
like an
well,
oxymoron.
it's like a plastic bubble.
Okay.
but it's big enough to fit a table in, so you can go in, you can sit down, you can...
Picnic bubble.
My only issue is, so my husband is 6'7", and every time I think about it, I'm like, I don't
And how
think...
tall are you, Colleen?
I'm 5'2".
Which means their children are going to be 7 feet tall.
Oh, yeah.
One's going to be 7 feet tall. They are.
They're already going to be taller than me. The pediatrician already told us. They were like, yeah, they're going to take after him, not you. I was like, okay,
Well, look, it's, in my family, my brother and I are both like 6 feet tall. Our dad's 5'7". My mom's 5'3". My sisters are 5'3". But we're both like 6 feet tall, so we buck the trend.
Well, that's like, so
good for you.
My dad is 6 foot. All my brothers are 6 foot or taller, and my mom is 5'2". So there I am. But my sister is 5'10". So then, like on Ian's family, they're all super tall. His mom's really tall. His dad's really tall. Ian's just extraordinarily tall. But his sister's my height, so 5'2".
Genetics.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Crazy thing.
Very.
So.
Moving on from Bernie, Deftones have once again partnered, with California brewery Belching Beaver to release another beer.
Why is that not based out of Oregon?
I don't know. Ohm's Pale Ale to add to their White Pony IPA and Phantom Bride. Ohm's, that album, I've not heard much of it, but I love Deftones, so I don't know how...
I do love Deftones.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what's
liking
belching beaver?
Belching Beaver.
Yeah.
Some would call that a queef.
Oh,
A queef? That's a whole nother situation.
No, it's a belching beaver.
Stop.
Thanks, George Carlin.
No, I knew it, but I just was like, no, please don't.
Hey, live. Hello. Hey, you bought the ticket. You're getting on the ride.
hope your children aren't watching.
No, what time is it?
We don't have Team No Kid doesn't have to worry about that. Up top, Steve. Click. Oh, by the way, that's really good.
It is really good. It actually tastes like coffee. I feel like I'm drinking a cup of coffee more than a beer. So
I like it better than coffee, but that doesn't take much.
I will say,
It's
it's weird. Like when I think about like dirty things with my kids, like I curse a lot and things like that in front of my children, and they don't ever curse.
I actually just read an article on
Do they
CNN
understand
yesterday.
that they'd better not?
No,
That said that
I've
cursing,
never addressed it because I grew up cursing. Like I knew that I shouldn't curse at school. I knew there was places that I shouldn't use it, but it was never something foreign in my house. And then I don't do that with my kids either, and they never say it. I think it's kind of a normal. I normalized it almost too much, where they're like, I don't want to sound like mom. Like,
how old's the oldest?
I have a 5-year-old, and then I have a 3-year-old.
Okay, the 3.
So,
okay, I thought the 5 was the young. Okay, never mind.
I'm going to make foreign, curse words an actual foreign thing to start saying, Scheiße, Merd, Kaka.
Yes, exactly. Kaka is very universal. That's a universal term.
Yebiga.
Yeah, that's I have my Bosnian employee. Fuck it is Yebiga is fuck it in Bosnian.
Oh, I like it. All right.
Yebiga.
You really should
that
get
in.
that for a license plate.
Even better is stupid people. Gloopy looty. So we'll be working.
a great language.
And somebody would be doing something, and I'll go gloopy looty, and then liepa is pretty, and so a girl will go by and go. he'll go liepa. I'm like liepa. Or eat my ass was what was it?
Oh my god!
Why would you need that term?
Fuck you! Like I eat my ass. Like it's pollo de mi dupe. It's such a great.
It's been
why
out
would
of
you need
like
that
it's a
term?
little
Like,
too.
How would you use that in a conversation?
Why? How or why?
Why?
The why? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Look.
Gotta be careful
What's
around
next, like
that.
something that
on your-
happens behind closed doors that I don't need to
What's
worry
the
about?
next news on your list?
Something
there?
about Serbian cannibals and what they like to say.
They don't get along very well. Serbs and Bos, something war. I'll try the Belching Beaver beer. Sweetwater has now expanded to new locations in Colorado and
Not surprised.
Denver and Colorado Springs and all that good shit.
So they can actually make a 420.
Oh no, I don't like their. I cannot stand those 420 beers.
Are y'all
They're
sisters?
very IPA-ish. Well,
We have very similar tastes.
but oddly enough, the
hair.
G13, like the hempy beer,
yeah,
like those, like I can imagine them doing that, actually containing weed. Because when I was at the GABF pushing 6 years ago, I had a weedy beer, but it tasted like a Dogfish 90.
Yeah.
that had the longest line of anything there. And that whole trip, my stomach was on fire, so I couldn't, make proper use of the time. So.
What were the 420 beers that you had?
They were their like special one, and it actually said like on the back, like
yeah, they were 420. We came over to her house, and she was like, "Guys, I'm trying to get rid of this one beer. It's 420 strain. What brewery is that?"
It was the stout.
That is Sweetwater.
It was Sweetwater. It was the stout that they had because
There's
I always, if I see a stout that I don't know, I usually pick it up. And the thing is that I don't smoke, and I guess I'm just not used to it. So the flavor of it, I'm like, so it like freaks me out. It doesn't freak me out, but I just don't enjoy it. So it's kind of like you can't.
Now I got it.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Wait, am I don't think I'm green. My name is next to pink. And so that would be Carin is the quietest.
Okay, it is.
Oddly placed.
This is very far away for me to be reading on this giant TV I'm using as a monitor.
I know, but I would say, so like, I think if you enjoy weed, if you enjoy pot, you probably like those beers better because you enjoy the taste of it, where I don't smoke at all. So it's like, I taste it and it kind of takes me back, and I'm just like, I don't. That's not something I'm used to, right? Where like I drink a lot of stouts, and I have friends who drink stouts, and they're like, "How do you drink that? That's disgusting." Well, because I like it, I'm used to it, so I think it's like one of those things.
You should say, "Do you have COVID? Because you don't have any taste."
I have had way too many scares where I've eaten something and been like, "This doesn't taste like anything," and then I'm like, "I need to try something else. Give me something else."
We're like Emily and I both had COVID, so I'm lucky. Like, I didn't want to lose my singing voice, and I didn't want to lose my taste. Mm-hmm. That was the only two. I was like, I will throw up and piss and shit myself. I don't care. I do not want to lose my singing voice or my taste, because those are two big things for me.
Here lies AJ, dead of dysentery.
I forgot to
Oregon Trail.
I forgot to tell you. So I canceled the shows. We were going to play at Rock Hill Brewing Company. I don't know if you guys have ever been.
I have not.
I don't think that I
really
have,
go into
actually.
Rock Hill.
Yeah.
Well, it's usually we go out for $100 an hour. And then they were like, well, because of COVID, we can only pay you guys, $100 for 2 hours. And when we booked this at the time, it was like, okay, shows are hard to come by. It's, doing them a favor. They don't have a budget for it. I get it. So I booked it. Well, I booked it, and then now shows are starting to pop up again. And they emailed me today, and they were like, hey, our Fridays have been really slow, as are Saturdays, so we can give you 10% of whatever we make in beer sales. So if we make $1,000, you make $100. And I'm thinking in my mind, yeah, but if you only make $200, I drove all the way down to Rock Hill, set up, played a 2-hour show.
Oh, yeah.
For $20. I'm like,
yeah, that Mint Hill Rock Hill is not a quick trip at still 45-ish minutes.
Yeah.
And it makes me nervous because they don't have restrictions. So it's very nerve-wracking. And I wonder almost if that's one of the reasons why they're not getting as much business.
It might be.
Because a lot of the places, they don't have any restrictions. I freak out sometimes when I'm down there because we do go into South Carolina a lot. And it's weird. It's a weird situation because you're like, okay. And I will say, Harris Teeter has made me so happy because, I will walk in and there's this sweet little man and he will go, put your mask on.
Oh, shit. Ours don't. They offer you one. They will offer. I work Food Line. They will offer you a mask. But they can say no. And we can't enforce, we can't enforce it because, they don't pay me enough to be a cop.
Huh.
So, when I see somebody in my department that's not wearing a mask, I just go to the back and wait till they're done. And it's a lot more. It's more and more every day, unfortunately. But yeah, South Carolina is kind of a different situation.
Yeah,
you can't just start following people doing this.
Well, I do this. I'm like, hey guys, how's it going today? Fuck face, you noser. But
mask hole.
We played at the artist formerly known as Commoners Brewing Company in Concord. It's now Buzzed Viking.
Oh, I didn't realize that they had changed. I've been to Commoners.
Yeah,
I saw.
It's now Buzzed Viking.
Commoners now they do the mead.
They also do
they're
mead.
a meadery now. So I went there to do the mead. Take part in the meadery section. Because I really like mead, and I always think about the Renaissance Festival and stuff like that. So we went because we couldn't go to the Renaissance Festival, so we went and got mead.
There was supposed to be a meadery opening literally in my townhome community. There's a small strip of retail at the very front where I live.
Yeah.
There was a meadery, and last year, this time, I took a photo that was coming summer 2020, and I was like, oh my God, it's over. like, what is my life going to become? We're going to spend all of our time here, and
Colleen's
then
moving into my spare
and then
room.
they never, and then COVID happened, and so they never. The building has been for sale now.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean,
so
that's
they never
one of those
opened.
hard things that
So sad.
has happened with COVID is things. I've actually been really impressed with COVID, like places like that just opened up. Like I think about in Pineville because it's a really small community, like Pineville or Kitts or Middle James, who have done like the beer delivery and things like that, where you can like order it and get it delivered.
Middle James opened right before All Hell Broke
Right.
Loose, didn't they?
Yeah, they opened
did.
right before it, and I remember.
guys.
But
Their beer's good.
it's all right.
I
but
like what I had.
They've definitely gotten better. When we first went, it was okay, but it was also, I think I didn't like the atmosphere because it was super, super loud. But they fixed that, so now it's better. But they'll deliver it to my house. I'm all for it. Bring me beer to my house.
Fuck
that is
yeah.
wonderful. Like that, and they don't upcharge it. There is a delivery fee, but they're not upcharging me for the beer. There's a delivery fee, obviously, to pay the driver, which is fine. Bring it to my house. I don't have to go anywhere. Bring it. Come on.
I forgot what I had there. Brian and I went. Leighton.
Yeah.
And we drove out there, and we went. I got 2 months ago, so it was pretty recent. So yeah, I liked the beer that they had.
Well,
So, if you are going to be the Middle James, is it more of a Maynard James Keenan situation or Jeremy James and Richard situation?
I don't know of any other famous Jameses that are in the middle.
The
Ronnie James Dio.
Boom.
That was the one.
The James Gang. Seems to me you don't want to talk about it.
We got it. All right, next up. Anheuser-Busch has pulled Budweiser ads from Super Bowl and redirecting the money to public campaigns to fund COVID vaccinations. Way to go.
Love
You know
it.
what?
Love it.
Good for them.
Way to go. You know what? If you
I
can't
love
make
it.
good beer, make good decisions.
Well, make good decisions. And the thing is that you are a huge, like, think about Budweiser's, the people who buy Budweiser.
I can picture it now.
They need
I have an
that,
image.
right? You have that picture in your head and you're like, oh yeah. But it's also like, maybe that'll encourage some people to get the vaccine who are completely anti-vax. And, or like, my big thing is I want companies like that to start doing, like vaccines.
You good?
Yeah, cheers.
Uh-oh. Yeah, the
Cushions.
we usually
But
only
like
have
start
one
doing
guest.
vaccines like where you can go and like go through the factory. Like there's like in England and Europe, a lot of those places have opened up where they're becoming vaccination sites. And I feel like that should happen here.
How much do you think that has shamed the other companies who are like, yeah, I'm going to spend millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials?
In
like,
big business, there is no
like
shame.
Pepsi.
No, but a lot of Pepsi
Is that
called
more-
out. They're called out too. Pepsi called out.
Did
Oh, they did?
I think Pepsi, Coke,
Wait.
Budweiser, and something else. They all pulled out of the Super Bowl.
Wait, both Pepsi and Coke were Super Bowl? Or, I thought it was always Pepsi.
Well, but Coca-Cola always does.
Coca-Cola owns every fucking thing,
Well,
too.
that's
so.
a
Well, yeah,
fair
but they
point.
always do commercials
I'm
like
surprised
that.
you
But they
haven't
pulled
had
out like they're not
actual
paying all
Coca-Cola
that. Think about
beer.
how much money they spend on those ads.
It's called a Jack and Coke.
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. I haven't had a Jack and Coke
Which,
in a long
I
time.
haven't had a Jack and Coke in forever.
But like,
Yeah, when was the last time I had a
remember
Jack and
briefly that Jack Daniels had their own like spiked soda?
Yeah, I
And
remember
like
that.
it
my
was
God,
here today,
yes.
gone today.
Shit,
It's
you
like-
remember Jeremiah Weed?
Yeah.
Good. It was not fucking good.
What about Spark?
Somehow it
Remember
made
Spark?
G13
Yes.
taste good. But it's standard
energy
420 as an
energy
IPA
drink
instead
that
of the
didn't know had alcohol?
skunky hemp thing.
My first buzz was on Zima.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
12.
Oh, no.
Kettle One.
My first vodka
Kettle
was
One.
Absolute Papar.
I'm sure.
Ugh.
Wait, this is actually. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. My best friend and I, when we first started drinking, we would drink Kettle One. We'd take a shot of Kettle One and pour. Remember the Kool-Aid packets that you could like rip open and pour Kool-Aid packets in our mouth. Like that was gonna cut it.
That was your chaser?
That was our chaser.
Wow.
Instead of just like mixing it, like that would be intelligent. Like pour the vodka, mix it in. No, we're just gonna drink the vodka.
It's your sister, Carin, not mine.
Don't look at me. I didn't know her
I
then.
blame New Jersey.
That's like a basic white chick like a
Oh
maid.
yeah, hashtag New Jersey.
You're a Jersey girl?
Yeah, I
I
am.
didn't know. I guess now that I can hear the voice.
Jersey.
What's funny is accents. Accents are always funny because when
So
I
what
hear
tags it?
when I hear my voice come out of my ears, I hear a gigantic fucking redneck. And I know that's true, but then when somebody from North Carolina hears me speak, they go, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from here." They're like, "No, you ain't." I'm like,
Nobody believes that I'm from North Carolina.
No.
Because I have a very Midwestern flat.
I worked real hard and not
really
sound
have
like I'm
super
from
thick
these parts,
accents.
y'all.
Like, I remember when I first started teaching in North Carolina, there were moments where I was like, what? Especially with the word red.
Red.
Yeah, it's too subtle. Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then I have to, so I teach younger grades, so I have to do, fluency tests. And they have to read to me, and they have to say words correctly. And I remember my first year teaching going, so do accents count? Because I'm not sure. I know they know the word, but it doesn't sound right.
No.
But it's a weird thing. And I don't think I have a really super thick Jersey accent. Mm-mm. But I think when I'm here, I don't have it as bad. And when I go home, it gets real bad. Or if I'm angry, forget about it. I am Jersey all the way.
There's this guy, I can't remember his name, Eric something on YouTube, and it might be for Variety or Vice or something, one of those YouTube sites. Anyways, he is a dialect coach, and what he does is these videos.
Andre.
It's not Eric Arsenault, is it?
I don't know.
The vocal coach? He does vocal coaching too.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But he does a bunch of videos where he talks about the different accents around the world, and he has recently started a series of accents around the U.S. And so he starts in the Northeast, and he's working his way down like he did New York and Boston, Chicago. Then he went to Ocracoke Island, right, where they have the Hoyt-Toyters and all of those weird regional dialects. And then they talk about the Gullah accent, and they spend a lot of time actually in North Carolina, and that's where they stopped. And so now they're going to start moving into I think probably the South, and then up into the Midwest and across. But it's just fascinating to hear.
And
he speaks in the accents as he's talking about them to describe the different types of R's and the A sounds, and it's fascinating. You watch it if you haven't.
Is it YouTube?
It's on YouTube. I'll send you.
I was going to say,
so it's going to be the disappearing letter R in Boston, and how it all comes back in Texas.
Yeah.
Gotta park the car. Gotta go wash the car.
Well, he talks about the rhotic R versus non-rhotic R, right? In Southern speech, right? There's the rhotic R, which is where you hear the wash.
I hate that. I hate it so much. I hate that.
And non-rhotic R's, which is what we have typically below North Carolina. So, anyways,
and that's so
Watch
I teach English to kids in China online, and that's one of the interesting things is you cannot have an accent when you're teaching them sounds because my accent can be very different than your accent, and then when I'm teaching someone else whose language doesn't necessarily have that sound, it can be incredibly difficult. So you have to cut your accent completely out, which is really hard to do. And I don't really even think of myself as having a super severe accent.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't say so.
No, but when I did
the famous R's and L's getting mixed up.
Well, but no, when you do the testing, it's a weird thing because you have to take a test to be able to teach it, and they'll be like, "Ooh, you say I don't know, let's say the sound for a P is P, but you say P, and you add an A to it." Mm-hmm. But it's similar to when you sing, and you have to sing water.
It's the shadow vowels on the end.
Yeah, you can't I remember they would always yell at us for the word water, don't put a D, it's a T.
Water,
not water.
Or also don't
weird
make
thing.
it water.
It's just a thing you don't think about, and then you have to concentrate on it, I guess.
What is the top of a house called?
The roof.
I call it roof.
Where are you from?
Because you look at things. You don't look at them.
Look.
Listen, more power to anybody who learns English as a second
has to do
language.
with
Yes.
My major was math.
No, but it's English as a second language is ridiculous and trying.
My major
Emily
is
teaches
pain.
Chinese
Because
to kids in England. No, I'm just kidding. She doesn't.
But there's 4. So what is it? There for the English language, there's over
Cantonese
40
or orange?
sounds, but we only have 26 letters. But there's over 40 sounds. Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Cyrillic alphabet's 36 letters, and Spanish is 28.
German is 30.
Yeah.
Because you have 3 umlauts and the ezet.
Yeah, but the sounds, you have to think about the sound correlation, where most of those languages, yes, there's 30 letters, but then each letter has a sound, and it only makes that sound.
Mm-hmm. And Hawaiian's 11.
Yeah.
But then everything's pali, wali, kaki, faki,
Wait,
shit. So.
does that count the apostrophes?
We love the Hawaiian Islands.
We do. They're one of us. They're a state.
Don't
And
come
so
after
should
us,
D.C.
right?
and Puerto
I
Rico
wanna go there.
should be states.
Oh, God, I would love to go to Hawaii.
I'd like to go back to Puerto Rico, actually.
I've never been to Puerto Rico.
We went for our honeymoon.
I got married in Ireland, so we did our honeymoon in Ireland.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I think I just don't know. I go to Europe more so than I go anywhere else.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, rub it in. Why don't
No,
we?
I mean, we just like, that's where I end up going. Like, I don't ever think, I think it's because I'm pale and so I burn really easily. And I'm like, I don't need to go anywhere where I'm going to burn.
We were going to go to Ireland. We were thinking about going to Ireland last year, but everything went shit. So
Yeah,
we
we're
didn't go to
supposed
Ireland.
we were supposed to go to Greece and Turkey last year, and that didn't go through.
Yeah.
Sad days.
You need a new travel buddy since you have.
Well, it was a big
God,
group.
she has a newborn.
Yeah, Gwen.
It was a big
Gwen.
group of us going.
Gwen has a newborn, so she's not going anywhere right now.
I'm out again.
Oh.
I'm also out of this again. So if we want to investigate that High West right now, I'm okay with that.
I mean, we can totally investigate the High West.
Sweet.
Either one.
All right, everybody.
Does Sean? Do you guys have a bottle of Willet at home?
I'm still rocking the bandana.
We have a bottle of the Willet
mask
Rye.
thing.
I got the regular
like
Willet
it. Makes you
downstairs.
look,
I fucking love it.
Oh yeah, Willet's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Going
it's
on
funny.
an adventure.
I feel like all the
feel like I
Willets
need
that
an
we've
eye
tried
patch.
are super green tea. Every time we open a bottle of Willet,
That's interesting.
that's the dominant flavor that we
So
get.
have
AJ.
I want to get into the news, but I have another thought. But go ahead. Three thoughts.
With the plaid flannel shirt and a bandana around my neck because mask.
Thank
I
you.
feel like I need an eye patch.
I have an eye patch in there.
Go on.
I'm just kidding. I really don't.
God, if you
I
get
have
an
a-
eye patch, you will never get me back because I will just fucking cut down. We're not.
I mean, we have a sword in here, nunchucks, real handcuffs, a power glove.
What's a power glove? What's that mean?
That.
It
was a Nintendo controller.
Oh my god!
It was
for
that
the
you put
original
on your hand.
Nintendo.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Was this the precursor to like virtual reality?
Yeah, this is
things?
very much the great
Stop
granddaddy
it.
of Nintendo Wii motion controls.
There it is. So, like, when you playing Punch Out on, like, so you'd have so you play Mike
So it's
Tyson's
like-
Punch Out, and
It's like duck hunt on your hand.
yeah, but I have
Kinda,
the
sorta.
zapper right there too. So
Yeah. So here's the zapper gun. I also have this in orange and gray at home, and technically I have 3 NES units, but one's currently gutted at the saucer
we got a lot of
Why
cool
is it
shit.
gutted?
Oh yeah, that's right.
because
It's on your
I put
plate.
it on a plate for my last saucer plate.
I can't.
This looks like a
Because that's to
stapler.
Do something completely ridiculous.
It's a pick punch. So if you gave me a credit card, I could punch it out, and it would punch a guitar pick out of it.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, I've got a gift card I won from work for the Big Lebowski costume.
Yeah.
It still has 9 cents on it. Can
Bring
I try
it.
to spin it on one place?
We'll make
or just
guitar
make one that
picks.
says vanilla.
We'll make guitar picks out of it. High West, everybody.
High West
Hello,
Midnight Winter's
West.
Dram. Slightly less than 100 proof. $90 MSRP. And
Oh, that-
Christmas.
Ooh, delicious.
Christmas
so smooth.
in a glass.
So smooth. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's
Christmas
good.
in a
I mean,
glass.
it's their seasonal like winter release. Fantastic.
Hey, okay. Steve's a happy Steve. My
Are
favorite.
you
kind
a
of
rye drinker over there? Some people aren't. Some people don't like rye.
Steve. He's a.
I'm not actually a huge fan of rye.
I am a big fan of experimenting, and I feel this experiment is going very well. That seems to be all I'm doing at work now is experimenting with, see what happens to attempt to fix shit.
So good.
We have 2 more bits of business to go
Okay.
in news. Highwire Brewing of
Asheville,
is opening a tap room in.
Hendersonville,
No,
Charlotte.
no, you already guessed.
Raleigh?
No,
Pineville?
Louisville, Kentucky.
What?
Pardon?
Really?
Yes, Highwire is
Because-
expanding.
You know what though? That doesn't shock me though because
Because
Louisville is
Kentucky is a circus.
no, but Louisville is getting more and more like popular with different things like that. They're becoming actually more. They've always been a city, but more of like a metropolitan city, I guess. They're becoming more and more popular with different things, and I think
Unless you're a whiskey drinker, in which case they've always been popular.
Heyo.
Or, I'm sorry, I should say bourbon.
I will say,
Are those
see,
elephants on your shirt? That's boss.
They are elephants.
That's boss.
Yeah.
I have camels on my socks because it's hump day. Whoop whoop.
Hump day!
I can't.
What do you got, Steve?
I have
got
deer
nothing.
heads on mine because real tree socks are cheap.
And did you pay $1 for them?
You have a
A
leopard.
few more.
Nope.
Either way, thanks, Bargain Hunt. You're a pal
I've
when you
got
actually have
nothing,
something
and
that's
I'm
interesting.
proud of it.
Hello to our Steve and I's friend Andy, who is has 2 horses that he races.
Oh wow!
And by the way, when I say he It's he and 199 other people are group owners of 2 horses in horse racing.
And I'm sure that still costs him a fortune every month.
Yes, it does.
Oh, it has to. It has to.
And
Horses
so
are,
he's
like,
a
the most
huge
expensive
horse
thing.
racing and bourbon fan, and he goes to Kentucky like 4 times a year, and always comes. And he's the one that got me that bottle of Willet. It's so fucking good.
So, is he driving a Corvette or an XLR nowadays?
He drives,
or a Camry. Trying to think of cars that are built in the state of Kentucky.
He drives, which we need to go through their car history because we've done that with everything.
Yep.
And we'll do it after the news before we get into the music. But
Wait, I want to go through my car history.
yes, he drives a Sentra.
Oh, sweet.
It's made in Tennessee. Close enough.
And it's the smoothest Tennessee whiskey. And last but not least, I have it up here, and this is specifically for the whiskey chicks.
All right.
This is the 10 best bottles of bourbon between $30 and $40, and we're going to see if we agree on this. Steve and I've had several of these on air.
Between $30 and $40?
Between nothing cheaper than 30, nothing more expensive than 40.
Okay.
Do I get to see the bottles? Because I'm going to
I think
guarantee
he's going to
there's-
read them out, and we'll.
I'm going to read them out. I'll read them out.
It's
Hold
a
on.
rectangle
So hit me
and
if
a
I've had it
circle
and I don't
and a
remember.
triangle and an oval and a heart shape and a horse's head.
No, it's more so that if I've had some really good bourbon, I may not remember.
Is this your list, or is this a list you
This
found?
is a list I found.
Okay.
And I'm inclined to believe the ones I've had on here they're definitely dynamite.
Okay. Hit me.
I had more of those. 1792. I absolutely agree.
I love 1792.
I love it. But it looks like a really cheap, gigantic bottle of cheap perfume because of the gold cap and.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But I think that was like a thing like back in the day when they started making certain.
We went to Barton's Distillery when we were up in Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and we walked in, and it's the now I think their larger room was closed, but #COVID. But
If
but we
anything,
walked
they
in.
should have left the larger room open because spacing.
Yeah, that's true. But we went in and did a tasting, and they only allowed 6 people in to do a tasting at once, and you had to reserve way ahead of time, and they only had like 3 things that we could taste. And I was like, it was the smallest, cheapest feeling tasting we did out of all of the distilleries. But the 1792 is good. And we did, I've had their sweet wheat. Have you done their sweet wheat?
No,
Yeah,
I've
their
only
wheated
had
bourbon.
the barrel one.
Yeah.
Regular barrel, and I haven't had that one.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Next, Balcones Texas Pot Still Bourbon. Never had it.
Never had.
Okay, good. Steve, I assume you haven't had it either.
So we need to call someone in Texas.
I don't know anybody.
No, I've kind of fallen into my rabbit hole of
Have
whatever's
they,
good and cheap.
Have they started, since of COVID, have they started loosening the laws on mailing alcohol?
Kentucky just passed it.
Did they?
So you can actually buy it from there.
Yeah, but North Carolina still does not allow you to ship it into the
Yeah,
state.
see, they need to.
Anybody got an LLC in South Cackalack? Or
Yeah.
you're the closest one to
Sure.
it.
Actually, ship it to your neighbor's house.
I was just
Literally,
gonna say,
the
I
house
can
right
see
next
if
to
Carly
hers
can do it.
is in South Carolina. She's
really?
right on the
I'm
border.
right on the border. I'm literally that close to the border.
Jeez.
Make friends with your neighbors.
I'm
ship
already
them
friends.
to them.
I can already make it happen.
Done. Oh my god.
Make friends with your neighbors you're already friends with.
This
I'm
is
already
fantastic.
friends with all those delivery drivers that come because I give them all treats over Christmas, and they start leaving me notes.
Nice.
All right.
It's boring, but it's good. Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
You know,
I keep thinking it sounds like a wine.
Well, but you have to think about the price of it. It's good for the price.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Woodford-
a good.
Here's the thing. I like Woodford. I mean, we have a lot of different Woodfords. It's always sort of just mellow to me. Like there's nothing that stands out about Woodford personally when I drink it. I'm like, okay, it's
That's
bourbon.
the one you
It's
recommend to people
whiskey,
who aren't
you know?
regular
Well, that's what I
whiskey
was gonna
drinkers.
say. It's a good introductory whiskey.
Yeah,
right?
there's
you're like try
there's nothing
this.
that
It's not
pops
too
about it.
crazy. It's it's not too hot. It's not it's not gonna burn your lips off.
I love the double oaked.
I do love
it's
the
so
double oaked.
like it's worth the $12
the
premium.
the double oaked.
They're
by the
releasing
way.
another one this year.
No, they released it today.
They did.
Wait.
Wait, is today the
Isn't that-
27th?
Yes. Isn't that the Mitch Hedberg Hotel, the quadruple oak or quadruple tree?
Yes, the quadruple tree.
Quadruple tree.
The chair lunch dinners.
Not the double tree.
I feel like when somebody goes, "Hey, I'm not a big whiskey drinker. What should I get?" Get a Woodford.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have just got a bottle of this downstairs that I just bought. Evan Williams Single Barrel. We just talked about that before we started
I haven't
recording.
had it.
I'm a big
I
fan.
got it downstairs.
I'm a big
That-
fan of single barrels.
I am too.
hard to go
I
wrong.
have to say, I actually like Evan Williams. I know it's like a cheaper brand, but I actually really like it.
I've had some
I don't
really good
hate it.
Ephemeral.
It's not one that I'm like, oh, it tastes super cheap. It's just kind of like, all right, well, you made it well, and you know what to charge for it because you know your audience. So.
Well, that's one of my dad's 4 wise men.
George,
Evan,
Jack, and
Jim.
Now, I have been super...
Is that George Dickel? George?
Yes.
I have 3 different bottles.
The 11 years rad.
I have 3 bottles of George Dickel downstairs, and I have just go cartwheeling
It's
over
I have to
George
be
Dickel.
honest. I have not had any George
I was
Dickel.
just gonna say I haven't either. Do you
Are-
need
are
to go
you-
run?
are you gonna-
Well,
are-
we
Well,
can
look.
vamp. Do you want us to vamp?
No, I will go. I can go get it, but I have the 9-year special reserve. I have the bottled in bond, and then I have the recipe 12.
Is one of those a blue label?
The blue label is bottled in bond.
I want to try that one.
That's
I've
the
heard
lavender.
really good things about that one.
It is so good. The 12 years really good. It was $22, and it's fucking dynamite. The bottled in bond was $32, and it's
Oh.
dynamite. And the
Yeah,
other one
see?
is $40.
Is that
It's dynamite.
on this list of $30 to $40 best bourbons?
I don't know. You know what? Let me get through this one. I'll totally fucking go get it.
Okay, all right. Go, okay, when we're done with this list, go
but I
get
Let's
think
get
it's, like,
derailed.
kind of fun
You don't have to
when
twist
find-
either of these
when you
arms.
find like bourbons or whiskeys and things like that. They're actually a decent price that you're like, oh, I really like
I mean,
the way this
I
tastes.
I
Like,
can
it's
name
like
you 4 to 5 under $20, but that's
Yeah.
not this list that we're doing right now.
The Evan
so.
Williams bottled in bond is under $20, and it's actually really
I thought you
good.
said it was 32.
The bottled in bond,
The
not
bottled
the
in
single
bond.
barrel.
Got it.
Yeah.
Maker's
Maker's Mark 46.
Natch.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
It's fantastic. I love
really
it.
is.
My brother-in-law is a Maker's Mark ambassador. So he has all manners of swag from
I
the
really
Dole
want.
Inn.
I really want to buy those Maker's glasses where
With the
it's got
wax
the
on it.
wax
Yep.
on them. Like I've seen them. They look
Oh,
so
I
good.
would. Maker's
Do
Mark.
you-
Every
yeah.
time I have Maker's Mark, makes me want to become like an old Victorian and get the wax and melt and like put my initial in it. That's
Yeah.
all I want.
Yeah,
to do.
just
Every
send
time I see
letters.
it. Yeah, I just want to send letters, put my stamp on it, and go.
That
I
sounds
wonder
great.
At what
Right?
point?
Send it off with a horse. I'm ready.
At
to
what
go.
point is a wax stamp so heavy you have to put 2 stamps on the letter? Totally worth it.
There's
I
a
think
hold
it's
on.
5.
There's actually a local distillery. It might be Muddy. No, it's not Muddy River. There's a local distillery who got a cease and desist letter from Maker's Mark. It might be Muddy River, out of Belmont. Who they got a cease and desist letter from Maker's Mark because they also dip theirs in wax,
Yep.
not red wax, but they dip theirs in wax. And Maker's literally sent them a letter that was like, "You cannot do this. We have trademarked this."
They did.
Goodness.
And they
But
they framed it. They framed the letter and they put it on the wall. And they're like, "Ha ha."
here's my
That's
problem
kinda
with
like my
that.
dad
How
having
do
a-
you?
Posted his
do
HOA
you-
dirty house letter.
Yeah.
How do you trademark
Yeah,
dipping
like
something
how
in
do you
wax?
trademark that? Like, stop! Like
Well,
that's just too much.
The song "Happy Birthday" is trademarked, so
It is.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
is trademarked. That's
It
why
is.
they have
Well,
different versions.
It's
and
not in
that's why
public
you-
domain yet.
Well, that
Yeah.
I think it should have been in public domain for about the last 110 years.
Right.
Great
No,
Gatsby's
but
in public
someone-
domain now.
It was in public domain, but then someone, I forget who it was. Oh, I forget who it was with Happy Birthday, but it was in
sounds
public
like
domain. But then someone again
Trademarked it
copied
again.
That
Copy-
sounds like
copyrighted
some
it.
Disney level litigious bullshit.
It is.
I bet it is Disney. I would honestly say it is, but it's something like that where it was public and then they trademarked it because there's a lot of things that were public and now that are trademarked because it used to be that it was until like it was like
think it's when
50
you take
years
the
and then
L
it become
out of the
trademarked
word.
and now it's like until you die or something. It's like
Interesting.
weird like that with trademarks.
Noble Oak, double oak bourbon. Don't know.
No.
Never had it.
I don't know, but can we print this list so I can go to the store?
Does your printer still work? Because mine got gridded a long time ago.
Mine works, but it eats cartridges. Like it.
Yeah.
It just the ink. It just.
Yeah, good
I
news. The
swear
printer
it's
was
worse.
$30. Bad news. It's a horrible piece of shit.
I'll print like 6 or 7 set lists, and it's out of black ink. Like I'm like,
What
I mean,
you
yeah, it was
need-
cheap, but-
yeah, what you need is the library across the street to open back up, so you can use their copies
I-
for 25 cents.
I do. We have a printer at work, but
Hey, you
I don't want
too.
to. I don't want to use it for that. We're a multi-billion-dollar worldwide company that has a black and white printer. So it's from Ohio.
Noble.
Yeah,
No.
it's
Yeah,
from Ohio.
I've heard of them. I've
I've
just
heard of
never.
it, I
I've
just
never
haven't
had
had
them.
Well, which is it, Ohio or Noble? It can't be both.
It
True.
could be Noble, Ohio.
Oh,
4 Roses small batch.
delicious.
Too harsh.
I haven't had it.
Didn't like it.
Really?
It tastes like fire. No, I didn't like it.
Tastes like
Oh,
fire.
man.
What's the proof?
45.
Yeah.
And it tastes like fire.
It was. Kellen got one for me for my birthday a few years ago, and it was just too harsh for my liking.
Did you have it just the one time, or have you had it since?
We went through the bottle.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. Then never mind. So I was going to say, this
Yeah,
old Ezra that I brought here, we opened it maybe like 4 weeks ago, and I could not drink it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so hot. And this time, we all drank it just fine. So, like,
I think it just some of them need to breathe a little bit.
You know what I'm doing? Like when I buy a brand new bottle, I go ahead and open it, and then I close it back up and put it down.
Yeah.
Because now when you get that neck pour, it's a lot fucking punchier.
It is, but I find that if you do that with like ryes, for example, they start to lose their potency and their like the like spiciness that you love from ryes. And so like I wouldn't do that necessarily with a rye, but it's not a bad idea with some of the other bottles. Yeah, definitely.
For something completely different that thou shalt not decant. COVID's been very productive to my red box wine.
He brought a bottle of box wine and fucking
a bottle of box wine.
He bought a box of box wine.
I will say, boxed wine, they are actually coming out with higher end brands are actually coming out with boxed wine now because it's cheaper. And now you can get a can of wine, and you can get a juice box of wine.
Canned wine is
I used to drink juice
expensive,
boxes of wine in college.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing.
Your standard bottle is going to be like $5 or $10, or you could get a 4-pack of cans that are 2 quarts.
Yeah,
for $20. Like it
sounds a lot more than half gallon, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Half gallon, 2 quarts.
Yep.
Listen,
Instead of your fifth of wine that you can get at Aldi for $3.
I'll draw the gallon man, and it won't be. But.
Yeah, the 3-liter boxes for as little as $11 don't suck.
Yeah,
The
I
sangria,
have
that's
no
just like,
standards.
the sangria you brought was excellent.
But that's like you can't beat it. Like when you go to Trader Joe's or something and you buy there. Now it's $3 Chuck, but you buy that and it's actually decent and it's not bad.
I never wound up there during $2 Chuck era. But
I did do $2. I went to a lot of weddings where they served $2 Chuck.
At the end of the night.
No, the whole wedding.
Beginning of
wedding.
Look,
I went to a wedding where they had 1 beer and $2 Chuck, and it was one of the funnest nights of my life.
I haven't been to Trader Joe's
Because
in
it
a hot
actually-
minute, but
I haven't been. I've only been
their
once.
house brand beers are quite good.
They are.
Their wines are really
Their
good.
wines
too,
are good.
honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not
They have-
much of a
but-
wine person.
How
depends.
much
It
in
had to be
cahoots
made.
are they with Aldi? Because
They're not.
Aldi.
Completely
No,
separate.
Aldi and Lidl, I would say, are in cahoots with each
Well,
other. But
I remember hearing that Lidl and Trader Joe's had some sort of alliance or something. It's like I don't see any overlap except like everything's super cheap.
Maybe that's the point, is that they don't have any overlap.
Yeah,
well, because
but
Lidl-
then the
or
Aldi
Lidl.
versus Lidl, they're in competition. But once again, like everything's ridiculously cheap. Sorry, AJ, considering your industry, but
I'm
price there
33%
is,
over last year, and my department alone did $1.2 million in sales last year in one store. So,
but then again, Food Lions
my bonus is in
do.
the
Yeah,
Is it a Jelly of the Month club?
oh yeah,
funny? I had
firm handshake.
somehow I had to remove jelly from 2 cars a day. Like it looked like strawberries. Like what the fuck is
Hey.
it? How did that happen?
Do you remember my?
you
when
know
I was,
how it happens? Because you give your kid a Pop-Tart, and then jelly ends up everywhere. Or you give your kid a glass of orange juice, not a glass of orange juice, a sippy cup of orange juice, and somehow you're getting hit in the back of the head with it, and it gets all over your car.
Reminds me of my honeymoon.
I don't. I don't know if you have the backfill on that. I work at Carvana, and we, I work in the photo department. I find the weirdest shit in the cars that are supposed to be like ready to go.
If you took my car, I can promise you, if you took my car right now and you said, okay, I'm going to vacuum it all out and I'm going to take pictures of it, you'd like bend down and be like, where the heck did this goldfish just come from? Because I swear my kids like multiply stuff and I don't know how it happens. I'm like, I haven't given you goldfish in 6 months. Where did that just come from?
Challenge accepted.
I think
Clean my car right now. You can
Okay.
you'll find
Pull it in
9
the garage.
things.
I am not a religious man, but I think the goldfish cracker is the merger of the
breads and
multiplication
fishes?
of the loaves and fishes.
Yeah, it could be.
Because it is
But-
fish made of bread.
You can
It
eat
is
them
a
every
weird
day.
thing. Like
Mom says that's okay.
Dude, sour cream ones? Yes, I could.
Jim Beam Single Barrel.
Yes.
I've had Jack Daniel's Single Barrel, but I've never had Jim Beam Single Barrel.
I like Jim Beam.
It is 47.5%, and it says average price is about $37.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Never had that one before. Next up, I have it downstairs. Woodinville Straight Bourbon.
I have not tried the Woodinville.
I haven't had it
Yeah, you
either.
have in the mountains. I brought the 132, the 120 something proof one.
Pardon?
I don't remember drinking the Woodinville.
I have it. There we go.
I think
Correction.
it is working. Whatever happened,
It's from
it's
Washington
working.
State. It is so
I mean,
fucking
I see
good.
Woodinville on the shelves all day long.
Sean
I
has
just-
a bottle at home. It's the creme brulee one.
What?
Pardon?
What?
Remember, it had the creme brulee taste to it.
Excuse me.
Look, he
I'm
was
gonna-
there when I bought it
Do
with
you
him.
need to check your pictures or check your Instagram?
I'm gonna check. So we have an inventory of all of
I
our.
can't.
Okay. So
I have a lot, and they have 5 times
no,
as much.
I know how much alcohol they have.
It's a lot.
It's a
It's
lot.
I've
a
also
lot.
told them that they need to create the app because they make a shit ton of money.
Let's see.
We were. Emily did not like the idea of us selling the pool table and me putting in a bar right there.
Oh, that's a
I
shame.
am in works. I am in works of
No, no.
creating a pub in my backyard.
Okay, hold on. Sean has. So we have the Woodinville NC Private Select Single
Yep.
Barrel.
Yep. You got that
The one.
Yep.
All right. Well, didn't remember that.
So I have one of those, and I have the regular
Listen,
downstairs.
we have like 300 bottles, so forgive me
way
if I
too-
don't
yeah.
remember.
Next up is Long Branch from Wild Turkey.
Long Branch is fantastic.
I've
I
never
feel
had
like
it.
a lot of people think
good.
that it's like gimmicky because it's it's
Wild
a
turkey.
Well, it's
tends to
also
be-
Long
Well,
Branch
101's
specifically is a
actually good.
celebrity.
101 as Wild Turkey 101's mad decent.
I like Wild Turkey's
For
products.
$20, that is you'd be hard pressed to find a 101 proof bottle that you could enjoy in drinks or neat or on the
Yeah.
rocks. Like, it's a solid fucking buy. I don't have any downstairs.
I
but
think like when you're thinking about this price range, I think that's what's important is that you have to think of something that's going to be good, straight, good on the rocks, good in a drink.
Yeah, just like
Because
overall.
that's what it is. It's like a multi-purpose drink.
But
Yeah.
Long Branch is a celebrity. Is a celebrity.
all right.
There you go.
Stop! I didn't know
yeah.
that.
By
totally
the way,
Matthew
McConaughey's a
McConaughey.
professor at U Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I saw
is.
Yes,
that.
he is.
Kaylin has such a crush on that man, and I approve.
You know,
I do
as
not. I don't
was
think
it,
he's attractive
I wouldn't,
at all.
I wouldn't kick him out of the bed unless he wanted to fuck on the floor.
I don't think Matthew McConaughey is attractive.
I
He's an He was not. All right, so if I had to pick a man to look like, McConaughey wouldn't be the man I would want to look like. If I had to
like,
pick a man to look
I feel
like.
like if I was gonna,
If you drop the beard, I could totally see it.
but
though.
here's the thing though. I think I would want to go have a drink with a McConaughey. Like I'd be like,
course.
oh, we could like drink. That'd be a lot
Yeah.
of fun. But I don't.
But I think it's something
he's
about
not
his
a bad
attitude, right? Like he's laid back, he's like easygoing. Like in that sense, like he would be fun.
He
like,
is
not,
Austin,
not
Texas.
necessarily
He
fun.
I don't
was
want any
just-
of that.
He was just on Hard Rock's
Okay.
podcast.
No, because
and
I
it's
can't
nothing
handle-
but his philosophy is like,
Anyone
Oh, yeah.
that
everything's
I
just
need-
kind of what it is, man.
He was on
I'm
Joe
not
Rogan and he was on WTF, and he was very laid back.
Ian's pretty laid back.
If
Yeah,
y'all
Ian
if y'all
is pretty
open,
laid back,
we'll go in
but-
car history. But if y'all want to open up something else,
that the
I'll go
last
grab. What's that?
Was that the last bottle? Of $30
Yeah,
or
that was
$40? Oh.
Yep. I will go grab. Do you want the bottle in bond or do you want the 9-year select?
Ooh,
Like I have 3 different bottles.
Oh, can you bring them up so I can see them?
I could bring all 3 of them.
You
up.
know why? Because here's my thing. I'm a very visual person, and so
Same.
I want. This is where Jersey comes out. I want to see them so I can pick which one I want.
At least you're Jersey and not the Minnesota accent and the Wisconsin like that. Don't you know Bobby Jenner?
Oh my god, my daughter has turned into Bobby's World on her
Oh.
little tricycle, and it is the funniest thing in my life. She. Oh my god, it's
Just
making
pass
me
the bottle
mad.
and bond. I'm good.
I'll go grab.
I'm just a very visual person, and I feel like bottles make me.
Yeah,
feel
I'll
better.
grab those
Alright.
and y'all.
Okay.
You guys open up something. And
All right, Steve.
I'll be right back.
I'm surprised at no point did either Hen 10 or Black Velvet 8 pop up because those are my go-to cheap ones. But Hen 10 got popular, and I can't find it anymore. Like I was ahead of the curve on that one since here goes all of our passwords. But Kaylin's mom's maiden name is McKenna. So that's how and why I picked that up and discovered, like, this doesn't suck. And the 10 years way better. And then somebody caught wind, and I never found it on shelves
the
again.
Henry McKenna 10 year you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah, well, I mean, so it won Best Bourbon, right, in, I think, 2018, and then followed up by winning Best Whiskey in 2019.
Goodness.
And so for something to win Best Bourbon and Best Whiskey,
That's
which
impressive.
It was super
Holy
impressive. And all of a sudden, it was
shnikes, those
impossible
that.
to find.
Oh, see, yes.
I want the bottle and bond.
Okay.
And the
I
standard
know you want that one, 'cause it's
the
pretty.
standard Henry McKenna of, like,
But I like that
I can't be
shape of
bothered.
the
Like,
bottle.
I actually fell into the song from 1989 to discover I really enjoy Black Velvet. And the Black Velvet 8-year costs $1 more. So that's even better. It's cheap. It's Canadian. It's good.
Well, that's how, like, so my favorite whiskey of all time is Jameson. I love Jameson.
Yes.
It's an easy drinking whiskey.
Costco had
I
a good
can
knockoff
drink
of
Jameson
it, but
if
I
my
think
life
that got
depended on it, I could drink
discontinued.
it all day.
Yeah.
I meant to bring the Jameson Black Barrel that we literally, so we
Okay, hold on.
went to Ireland.
We actually have an excellent story about this.
Yeah, we went
Go for
to
it.
Ireland 2 years ago together for Colleen's 5th year anniversary of her marriage because they got married in Ireland.
So we went back, and I brought the kids, which was crazy, but we did.
Yep. So there was a group of 8 of us, 10 of us, including your
10 of
kids,
us.
traveling around.
We had our
and
own bus.
We
It was
went to the Jameson distillery.
We spent 6 hours in the Jameson distillery with my 2 children, who were entertained, which was the craziest part about the situation. They were so good at the Jameson distillery. I was like, "You are my children. I did give birth to you." But to the point where the driver of our bus was like, "I've never..."
Seamus. What an Irish name.
Yeah.
Nice.
Seamus was like, "I've never known anyone to spend 6 hours at the Jameson factory, let alone with, at the time, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old."
So we did the tour. They offered like an hour-long tour, and then we did a tasting, and we had upgraded the tasting, right, to try like the Middleton Very Rare, which is, like, I don't know, $200+ probably. And then afterwards you could get
We now call it Kate.
you could
You could bottle your own
bottle
whiskey
your own
from a barrel.
whiskey
Oh,
from the
cool.
barrel of
Show
the
me that
Jameson
again.
Black Barrel. Just like that.
Cool.
You literally went up to it and you were like, It was crazy. But the thing is that, so we all buy one, pretty much. Like,
Most of us.
yeah, all of us bought one, essentially. And so we're up there, and Carin had gone out with my children while I
Nice.
stayed in the bar to get mine, and Sean was in front of me. And Carin plainly says, "Okay, I need you to get one that says 'drink me,' and
To
one
Sean.
that says
To Sean.
To
I
Sean.
was like, let's
and
get
one
2
that
bottles.
says 'drink me,' one that says 'save me.'" And so Sean's pouring them, and I'm watching, because you have to fill out like the
A
bottle
registry.
number, everything, registry for it. So he's filling it out, and I'm watching him fill it out, and Jelani's with me, and I look over and I go, "Sean, that's not what you're supposed to write. He has written Sean Preston."
Literally was
On
naming his bottle.
Both bottles.
So I
And
thankfully
we are going, "Buy another bottle, buy another bottle, dude, buy another bottle."
So I come up, and because we, like, first of all, we were there on his birthday, right? And also, like, it was the first international trip that the 2 of us had taken together, and we were like, this is going to be like what? So we were going to do a save me bottle and a like drink me bottle, like Alice in Wonderland, like drink me, eat me.
It wasn't, they were
Sorry,
expensive
what?
bottles, so it was like they were nice
sorry.
bottles of
What
whiskey.
was that about cannibalism earlier?
Yeah, I should have started Army Hammer. Anybody?
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. So, anyways, we saved it. So the Sean Preston bottle was the drink me bottle, and we created another one that said Carin and Sean. So we've saved that bottle. But Jameson Distillery. We went
Jameson
to the Middleton.
We went to
Distillery.
Middleton, which I have to say. So on my honeymoon, we went to the one in Dublin.
There's 2.
There's
Jameson
2. So
distilleries.
there's a Jameson Distillery, and the one in Dublin, and one in Middleton. The one in Dublin is no longer active. The one in Middleton is active. On my honeymoon, I went to the one in Dublin, and we went with Ian's groomsmen.
Nice.
And which was fine. We didn't care. Like, and I had a couple of my bridesmaids there. We just kind of ended up doing a group honeymoon because we were in Ireland. Like, that's what you're gonna do. I've dragged everyone here, so one of his best friends got picked for the special tasting,
Oh.
and I am the bride. And I'm going, give
You,
it,
sir.
give it to
You,
me now.
sir.
Because they
You, sir. You,
handed
sir.
out like special things, and I'm like, give it to me now. You don't even like whiskey. Give it to me now. Give it.
She
He
needs a
would
golden
not give it
ticket.
to me. And then
It's a
he's
special
doing the
day.
whiskey tasting, and he looks back at me and goes, "I'm not doing the rest." And I was like, "I will hurt you. You are gonna man up right now, and you will drink every ounce that's there because I told you to give it to me."
Mm-hmm.
But Middleton is better because Middleton's still active, and so you can actually. So they took us around to like they were doing craft ones,
We all got
and
to do
like
special tasting.
and yeah, and we got to do special tastings, and they were really good. Like honestly, like I went with my kids, and they were so good with them. They gave them little glasses of ginger ale that they could drink, like so they felt like they were cool. Like it was so good, like it was so cute, and they really did a good job. And because we did with this one,
Bottled
we
and
did
bond.
do we did a.
She doesn't have it yet.
Oh.
It's like
Yeah. I was like, Jesus.
We
That's how we
did-
taste shit.
So we did 2 tastings
working
that
from
day.
home's awesome.
And what I didn't like was at the one in Dublin, you only a couple people got to do the original tasting, but the one at Middleton, everyone got to do the original tasting, and then we did the additional one.
Which is the way it should be when you pay for it.
100%.
Cheers, guys. Or
right, before-
since we're talking about Ireland.
Oh,
Sláinte.
Clink.
Clink, 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 clink.
Oh, that's delicious.
Isn't it?
Oh my God! Wait a second.
It was really good.
Is anybody else getting distinct
But-
notes of apple juice?
Do you know what makes a Tennessee whiskey a Tennessee whiskey?
It's made in Tennessee.
I was going to say that, or it's going to be something with the...
It's called the Lincoln County process. I had to pull it up because I wanted to get it completely correct without being a fuckface.
All right, Google.
Appreciate that.
So the whiskey is filtered or steeped in charcoal chips before going into the cask for aging. So it's steeped in charcoal. George Dickel Distillery uses 13-foot vats and distills the whiskey to 135 proof, and it chills the whiskey to 40 degrees before it enters the vats. So it chills it before it enters through charcoal and then ages it. And it's supposed to produce a more mellow flavor profile.
It's super mellow.
It is
It-
super mellow.
But it's also very flavorful too.
gosh,
Everything
I'm
George
going
Dickel is.
to-
I've had is really good.
I'm going to distill my imaginary whiskey in propane.
All
I will
right,
call it the
Thanks, Hank.
Hank
No,
Heaven
that's what I was just
Hill.
gonna say. I was gonna say, all right, Mr. Hill, and then stole it from me. And then I was thinking, my last name used to be Hills. I probably shouldn't say that because that's
So
what I meant.
you went from from easy to hard mode on.
Yeah.
And Emily's last name was Latowski before she met me, so she went from hard mode to easy mode.
I'm gonna go from I'm gonna go from BCR Grove to Preston.
True. Yeah.
So
I was going
I
from McNally
remember
to Nix,
when
which is much better than Kirschner.
We call you McNixley.
when I got married, like literally people were like, "Don't change your name." And then so like my email for work is still with Hill because I would never get an email. But then I'm kind of like, maybe I should change.
You
it,
should
'cause then I'll
definitely
never
do
get
that.
an
Well,
email.
for what it's worth, have you met Brad and Jess? Because Jess had the same
Yeah.
thing go on.
Hill.
Jess
She went
and
from
I were
Hill to
both Hill,
Yardsburg.
and then so Jess and I were both Hill, and her and I would screw each other over at the bar because her and I would order. We'd be like, "Oh, Hill," and so we'd get each other's drinks. We'd always end up like if we were out together, my drinks would end up on her tab, and her drinks would end up on my tab without fail. Without fail, and then we would try to like.
Were you alive with the sound of music?
No, but we would no, but we literally Jess and I would literally try to go like she'd be like, I'm gonna order a drink, see it when you get your tab. So when she was out, I would know to get my tab so I could see all the drinks, and I would try to guess the drinks that Jess got, and she would try to guess the drinks that I got because they always messed it up because we would just say Hill.
Yeah.
And they would put it under one of us.
I've
but
never
now
know.
with Shakutek, no one knows.
Open the doors until you find toilets.
Got it.
So if you open that door and then you go like pretty much northeast, it's there.
Diagonally across the hall.
Yep, over that. There we go.
Nobody talk about whiskey all the
What?
We can start Colleen's car history.
Oh Jesus! Okay.
So this is what we do with every guest on this podcast we've had, and we've had several now. We go through their car history. Now, when you go through your car history, it is cars that were registered to you or that you were the predominant driver of. So if you're like 16 and it's your car, you're paying for the insurance and all that. It's in your dad's or mom's name, but
No,
it's
I never had
your
that.
car.
I bought my first car. So
Okay.
So my first car was a Nissan Altima.
Year?
1994.
I like that body style.
With a taped-on
OG.
bumper. Because it hit a car.
It hit it?
No, it hit a deer. A deer.
No, who was driving it?
I was not.
Okay, I'll say somebody else.
Yes,
because it wasn't an autonomous.
Someone else was driving it, and they hit a deer, taped on bumper. But then I took the tape. I never changed the tape, and the bumper still held on. So I think the tape was just superficial, like to make them feel better. But whatever. So I paid $1,000 for that car. I can't hate. And I got it in 2003.
Automatic.
Yeah. Automatic.
Mileage. Remember?
What?
Mileage.
Or how many miles were on it?
Yeah.
How many miles were on it when I got it?
Yeah.
Probably 60.
We're up to Nissan Altima.
Wow.
So, okay.
Up and up another beer. Let's do this
I mean,
shit.
for what it's worth, like mileage.
Listen.
Yes.
So, I come from a really small town. So, like, literally, my car. I'm from East Windsor, New Jersey,
Okay.
and it's a really small town. My high school had 3 towns combined into one. But so the car that I got had a taped-on bumper. It was from my mom's best friend, and I paid $1,000 for it. And I worked my ass off to fucking pay for that car. But I even took that car to college with me, but it had no air conditioning.
Yikes.
And
Well,
so-
and all right. So you've been in North Carolina how long? You're one of us now.
That one's working.
I am not one of you now because I moved.
One of us. One of us.
I moved when I was 18.
And you're how old?
Huh.
I know this is not a lady.
I am 34 years old, and so I have
is
one
your
more year.
Birthday.
One more year.
June 21st. So I have one more year until I am officially a North Carolinian compared to a New Jersey.
I'm older than you.
So
I'll be 35 in February. I'm not. Oh yes, yes.
What are you proud of? That you're older?
Know that I'm like not the youngest.
That would be me.
I know.
Sure, yeah. But here's the thing. So I was literally
always
the
the youngest?
last person to get my car.
Are you always the youngest?
When it's just me and Steve, I am.
I was gonna say
80%
Mike.
of the time.
Yeah,
Macadee is
so by the way,
younger than us,
on
so-
Black
Younger than
Friday this year, I'll be 40.
Oh, I like it.
And
But yeah, so I got my Ultima with the taped on bumper, and I had to pay for it for myself, and I worked really hard for that. But my aunt got it for. So I'm in a really small town, so everyone kind of like passes things around anyway.
Mhm.
But I had the taped on bumper, and then when I moved to North Carolina, I didn't always spend summers here. So it's probably my end of my sophomore year, I decided I was going to spend my summer in North Carolina, and my mom came down, and she was like, yeah, you can't not have air conditioning because I have severe reactive hypoglycemia, and so it's triggered by
With
high heat.
So the fan being on's good.
Yeah, well, I'm fine in here, but
Okay.
it's
And
like
the-
extreme heat. So
And the 440 method of air conditioning doesn't work all that well
So, like-
when it's 110 out.
yeah, so like not being able to fry an egg in the middle on the concrete in the middle of July is not actually good for me. So my mom was like, "Okay, we'll trade cars." And so then I ended up with a Sentra that I ended up killing the engine on.
Apparently, she's killed a lot of engines.
I've killed a lot of cars.
Mostly Nissans.
Mostly and then I've always had Nissans, but I will say I did. My friend tried to teach me how to drive stick, and I dropped his transmission. I didn't mean to.
That's the important.
Okay, here's the thing.
The look
It was
of
a
Maybe
Camaro.
don't drive
The look of horror
our
on both your faces.
car.
It was a black Camaro, and I
What year? All right, so did it have the really pointy front? So did it look like a redneck mobile?
no. I want to say it was like a 90, 92.
That's a redneck mobile.
93.
93 is the pointy front.
92 and 93 is
It's
AJ,
different.
Maybe it was a
AJ, by the
combo.
way,
I don't know.
to the untrained
Okay.
eye, those cars look the same, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will say he also was one of my friends who tried to tell me that you could look at the back of a car and tell if it was stick or
and we're also
automatic.
both untrained.
If it's not
eyes.
moving, you can't. But if it's moving, you totally can tell if the
No.
car's a stick or not
Parked.
because you'll see it.
No, parked. Okay.
Who is this guy and why is he wrong?
You don't need. It was a girl actually. And
Who is this chick and why is she way wrong?
So
This is
anyway,
person and
but the guy's car that I was driving, he was like, "I'll teach you how to drive stick. I'll teach you how to drive stick." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really need to know."
Blasphemy.
And
on
his
this
comment
podcast.
was, "What if you ever got stuck somewhere and that was the only thing?"
Did it-
Okay, I will learn
Did it look
how
like
to
that?
drive stick. Yes.
All right, that's that's a 93.
Okay, and it was black. Okay,
For the
so
pre-catfish.
the thing was,
The towel.
Yeah.
Towel.
so I was
Don't
like,
you
I
get
can't
that walk
drive
on
stick.
dr-
I can't drive
What?
stick.
Yep.
So I start driving it, and he's like, "You're doing fine, whatever." Da 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 da. And I dropped the transmission within 5 minutes of him doing that, and then he was
For
like,
what's worth,
"Get out of
Any
the car."
Camaro has not led a gentle life.
That's pretty true.
Well,
that's
it's pretty
that's
true.
just bad timing.
But I will also say, like, so Sean, when he got his BMW,
It's M3.
he and Katie went up to Virginia to get it. And Katie goes, "That is the scariest drive I've ever had," because he hadn't driven a stick in forever.
Yeah, he had to relearn how to drive stick, driving his newly
Driving it
purchased M3
back.
back to Charlotte.
And he stalled out so many times. And I remember when he got it back, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to drive to Saucer." And so he drives us to Saucer, and he stalls out. So you know when you pull into Saucer, and if you're coming in, like, off Mallard Creek, and you pull in, and there's that long pathway, he stalled out in the middle of it. And I just was like, "You gave me so much shit about dropping someone's transmission, and you're stalled right now."
I spilled mine, so.
But yeah,
I still would
so
go stall out mine a couple of times.
yeah, I've not ever been good at stick, but I will say, like, then I got a Rogue, and then now I have a Pathfinder, so I just became the Mom-mobile, essentially, is what
It's
I went
strictly
from my
Nissan.
Nissan
And
Altima.
the
I did. I am
Pathfinder
a
is now a
strictly Nissan
3
because they gave me the best
row.
deal. Honestly, like, that's where I got the best deal, and I'm gonna ride with it. You know.
I've had one Nissan. It was a lemon, but I loved it.
See,
I loved it. I really did. That
The
was a
only
great car.
Nissan I'm actively seeking out right now would be a Suzuki Equator. It is the
It's
Nissan Frontier pickup that was rebranded briefly as a Suzuki just for absurdity's sake.
That's an
Yikes.
11 here. And we need to talk about the bullshit statement that I made about the older the whiskey is, that it's really not worth the money.
well, it depends. It depends on the whiskey. It really does depend on the whiskey.
It was because I was reading.
Is it made of
Master
really old
Distiller.
trees?
It-
Can I get a Sequoia barreled whiskey
Tastes like
in
Toyota.
tribute
Oh, those
for
poor
my imaginary
Sequoias.
tundra?
It
Well,
didn't say they were
cutting
bad.
down
It
the
just said,
or not
don't
the
waste
rainforest,
your
the
money on the
redwoods.
whiskey because it's old.
Well, here's the thing.
That was what it was saying.
When you're buying whiskey, you really do have to think about your budget. So if you know you only have a certain amount, buy a decent whiskey, but you don't have to go super cheap. Like, there's
Fair.
always a decent whiskey that's on a fair price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go crazy. Like, I feel like that's one of the things with Carin and Sean, like, it's kind of like taught me was like, I can get a good whiskey that tastes good, or a good bourbon, or a good rye, and it doesn't have to break the bank, right? Like, you can try different things that.
Yeah,
work
I mean,
out.
there's a lot of fantastic options at really, like, lower price
and
points.
that's how I know if I can drink standard Listerine or knockoff Listerine
Yes.
instead.
That's my favorite Bush song. Listerine.
But to your point, AJ, that you made last podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's true that after a certain point, like, age, it's just like a statement.
In
right?
bourbon.
It's not
After
In
18, it doesn't
bourbon
matter.
itself.
Age and bourbon,
In
right.
Scotch and Irish is way different because bourbon
They're
is a
better.
brand new barrel, and then Scotch and Irish is a spent
Yeah. So
bourbon
it's
barrel.
going to impart those flavors, whereas
Absolutely.
a new barrel, like, there's only so much to take from it, right?
Right, right.
And so I can't remember what age specific. Did you say 12 year or anything?
All right, it said the sweet. All right, so it was 3 master distillers, and I think one was the Jack Daniel's distiller, one was from Heaven Hill, one was from another one. It was the sweet. They said the sweet spot for the most complexity was 8 years. For complexity's sake, like there are good 4 year. There, the bottled in bond's only a 4. Like technically, 4 years or over.
So do you not think that some of that has to do with nostalgia? Like, you have, like, so let's say we drank a fresh whiskey right now, right? 2021. And then 8 years from now, we drink it again, and we're like, oh, that, like, brings us
Well,
back.
it
and
doesn't
then
age.
20 years from now.
It doesn't age in the bottle.
Yeah, it
That's-
doesn't
No,
age in the
but-
bottle.
You, like, that flavor, like, you think of, like, that, like, idea, that flavor
Maybe.
background would still be there.
maybe.
To some extent, but at the same time, like, I did agree with what you're saying, right? Which is
I didn't articulate it as well as I should. I didn't say that if it was. over 12 years, it's not good. I was saying, like, you're going to get way more wood. It's going to be very woody. Like, if you get a 16-year bourbon, like, if it's that old, it's just going to be really...
Yeah,
you better like wood, because...
I mean, the difference between a 4-year and an 8-year bourbon is substantial,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But an 8-year and a 12-year bourbon, right? Like, at that point, all the flavors that you're imparting to it is more wood, right? And so, like, some of the... I mean, you know... like, nothing against age, like, longer age statements, but eventually...
It's gonna,
you know, it sort of levels out, right? In
diminishing
terms of,
return.
It's diminishing return. Yeah, absolutely.
You shouldn't pay $100 for something that's 15-year if the 10-year is half the price.
But
and
the reason
they play it is like, oh, I want to feel like I'm drinking the 15
well, that's
year
fair.
compared to the 10 year. Like, you know what I mean? It's like status, right? So,
but the reason that price increases is because of the angel share, right? Like every year that you like have something in a barrel, it loses, I can't remember what it is, 8 to 10% maybe, right? And so sometimes you open a barrel that's, I don't know, 30 years old and there's nothing left, right? Or, you know, you have a really small limited number of barrels left, or bottles left out of that barrel. And so
this is a great episode, by the way. This is very knowledgeable.
Our imaginary distillery would be called the Drunken Angel.
That's a great
So the name of my pub that I'm trying to build in my backyard is the Dragon and Shamrock.
Oh,
I like
that.
Right?
Because of the Welsh and the Irish
You need
connection.
music?
Yes.
So
Yes,
Ian
but-
is Welsh.
You know people.
Ian is
My,
Welsh and I am Irish, and so the Dragon and Shamrock sounds like perfect. Because I think that's the one thing, like, honestly, quarantine and COVID has, like, occurred. Like, oh, I can drink at home.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not weird.
Shit.
I think I had a really long time where I, like, thought drinking at home was weird. Like,
No.
without, like, a lot of...
No.
I'm like, oh, I can just drink at home with my husband, and it's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it's
know,
normal.
like,
It's not, like,
especially
a big deal.
then you're not drinking alone.
Yeah.
You've got drinking buddy. He's
Yeah.
good company. It's gonna be fine. Like that's the same thing at home as
I can
what
also
said about
drink
the
with
box
someone on
wines.
Zoom, and it's fine. You're still
I
with
could drink
me.
by my goddamn
but I
self
think-
with 3 cats sitting on me.
But here's the thing. I think that
Now,
I
like,
think
With
that
their age combined,
one
they're
of the
21,
things
right?
that COVID
Ish,
has taught
close.
us
Older.
is that
Whenever.
I have always considered, and you, and probably all of us have always considered ourselves to be social drinkers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you take that social aspect away.
I
and
miss doing stuff.
I miss doing stuff.
I do.
But all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? Like, Sean and I never drink at home, even though we had 200 bottles right at home. We never drink at home. We would always go out. And all of a sudden, you look at what you have and you think, I can drink at home.
Yeah,
You
mine
guys
And
are
it's
more
actually
collector.
okay.
To me, you guys are more collector. Like, you just...
Well, and I was like,
it's
so-
the collection of having this and, like, you know, this is really good. We don't drink it all the time at home, but when we do, it's a... Look, we all have our weird... I have guitars behind me.
Well,
I
and
haven't
I can
picked
say,
up
like,
in...
so...
Yeah, it's like one of these he's used, right?
So,
no,
like,
the two middle
I can
ones
also
do.
say, like, so, like, Sean and I and Ian and our friend Katie all lived together, and he was never a big drinker.
Yeah,
drinker
we
at
just-
home.
we
None
don't
of us
drink at
were.
home.
We always drink socially.
It's
We would be at
always social.
Saucer every night, or we'd be, you know, somewhere, like, we'd always do trivia. It was always a social aspect.
Yeah.
But now, when that got cut away, it was like, okay, wait, hold on. How do we handle that? And then, you know, you start doing the Zooms or Facebook Messenger, and you start doing all those things. But then, it's still, you know, sometimes it's just nice to have a beer at the end of the day, or, you know, a hot toddy. That's my favorite
preaching to
hot
the choir
toddy.
here.
You know,
You're
no, I
preaching
know,
all the
but like, you know,
choirs.
Isn't
having
one
that,
of M's
like,
favorites, the hot toddy?
Emily
I think
likes hot
I
toddies.
think she's
Oh,
the first.
hot toddy?
That's the first time I heard the phrase from her.
a hot toddy is great, and so like Ian so I have gastroparesis, and so a lot of the time of the year I can't eat solids, and so he bought a juicer, and he started juicing ginger.
Oh,
Yeah.
we sell so much ginger root.
No, okay, so
Yeah.
but it's cheap.
Yeah.
So you juice the ginger, and then you make a black tea. Put the ginger juice in, and put whiskey in. A little bit of honey.
That sounds amazing.
The best hot toddy
That's
I've ever
amazing.
had in my
If you
life.
hold the whiskey,
Ginger's
that's a lot
expensive.
of what I operate on at work. Is ginger tea mixed
Yeah.
with black tea.
Well, we
just
used to
be
buy
able to
ginger tea
tolerate
from the Asian
everybody.
market. We used to go to Super G and buy ginger tea. But with COVID, we haven't been going anywhere, so he started making his own.
We sell Ginger comes in a 10-pound box, and I'll bet you we sell 50 pounds of ginger a week.
Wait, what?
That's a lot.
Comes in a 10-pound.
And retail. At retail. Look, we don't sell a 10-pound box.
Oh, like, wait,
so it
what?
comes in.
I'm like, I need to buy
you
the
sell
10-pound
5
box.
units a week.
Do you
Like,
understand
that's
how
not
much
good volume.
ginger I go through in a week?
And it's $3.49 a pound, but it's so light that you could buy a piece of ginger this big, and it's like $1.15.
Probably about 4 inches of ginger every day.
You'd probably be better off buying the whole fucking case.
Yeah.
Reach out to your local store.
Much
Well,
like garlic,
I finally
have
got
you
a
ever
freaking
eaten raw ginger. Mm-hmm. That's a swift kick in the teeth.
Ain't it, though?
Fresh ginger? Oh, yeah.
Fresh ginger
my
is
gosh.
really, but here's the thing. But when you make it like, so I
I
don't
call
really
it the
like
ginger
ginger.
baker,
I'm
'cause he's
very
an
sensitive
asshole.
to spice. Like this Mexican hot chocolate kind of makes my mouth burn because it's a little too spicy for me.
I love it.
The more
I know,
spice, the better.
I'm a baby.
Same.
Cocoa,
However-
I love the cookies.
However, here's the thing: ginger kills me. Like it is like a shot to my mouth of like dangerous poison. Like to the point where like
opposed to
someone was
not
like, "Oh,
dangerous
you're
poison."
pregnant. Eat a ginger candy," and I fell on the floor, literally in my
I
classroom,
love ginger.
dying because I thought I was having a heart attack. But the thing is that different people have different flavors.
We're drinking to the
No.
spicy
No,
crowd.
no,
The spicy crowd.
nope.
I'll
But
take
people
a
like people
jalapeno.
react to ginger differently anyway. So, but when you make
I've gotta go
ginger from
undrink. I'll be right
fresh
back.
ginger,
I like
it's
the
way
band
different.
ginger.
So like it's just like very different. And so when you make a
Just.
hot toddy with it, with the whiskey cuts the spiciness. It's not as hot, right? So it hits it.
Yeah. Steve's gonna visit the latrine.
Oh God, your
The
hand,
WC.
his hand makes me so. You make me so nervous with your hand.
Be careful with it.
Don't die.
Oh, he's okay.
So okay, my car. If we go back to my cars, I just really have Nissans.
We took a detour there.
Yeah. So you've had you went through. You got through the Pathfinder.
I'm really in the
What do you
Nissan
drive
family. I drive Nissan Pathfinder. Okay, so here's the thing. So Ian went from what did he have? He had a
Well,
Honda.
you don't have to go through. Like you just have to go through the cars that you.
I think my favorite part with Ian though is that his chiropractor told him he had to get a new car because it was hurting his back because it was too small.
He's a big dude,
He's a tall dude.
but he probably weighs what I do. Like he's he's a pencil.
I mean, he's little, but I mean, he runs a lot. No, but so my favorite thing is, so we have a video of my daughter laying in the tub.
Wow, what are you doing?
Sorry.
Laying in the tub singing Whiskey in the Jar from the Jameson factory when we went.
Yeah.
And she lays in the bathtub and she thinks it's the best thing. And she goes, "Whiskey in the jar, whiskey in the jar." And she's kicking her feet with her little booty in the air.
Listen, Irish music,
It's
like
the
Irish
best.
jigs
Can't
are some
beat
of
it.
my favorite things. I mean, I listen to Irish music all the time. Irish bar music. Like oh my
Every
gosh.
Irish person has a good voice because they have that sadness. Every Irish person has been through something, so we have the sadness in our voice, and we can like really
Well,
sing.
to me, it's the locution of like the pronunciation of
We'll
like
sing it,
the-
and I
the
think,
clarity of it. It's beautiful.
But I also think like if you ever go into an Irish pub, and I remember at my wedding, Sean and Ian and Zach and all them went out for the bachelor party, and they went out into the town, and we were in this super small town in Ireland, and people were just getting drunk and singing, and they were like, it was amazing because everyone just shut up and listened. And when everyone shut up and listened, it was amazing what you could hear. And it was like people's voices were, and one of the funniest memories of my wedding, we were sitting in the bar in the hotel while Carin took pictures, and we were sitting in the bar in the hotel, and we were sitting there, and my best friend was there, and it was only my best friend, her husband, her kids were there, but they were in the hotel room. We had a baby monitor, and there was just a couple of us, and we're sitting in the bar, and there was all these old people in the corner, and all of a sudden the old people, 80s old, started swarming us around us. and pushed us into the center of where they were. And they're singing. Mm-hmm. And we were like, and then we were like, should we leave? Because I feel like we're not part of it. And then they made us sing. And it was the most awkward moment. Because it was like...
Awkward but magical.
No, it was awkward because I was the only one
That's a
able
great...
to do anything.
It's a great tagline for this episode.
Living in the 80s. The thing is that they're in their 80s. They're in their 80s and they're loving life. Just like, let's go get drunk in the bar and sing. Like, let's just, and then we're going to include everyone around it. I don't care that she's 27 years old. Get her in this circle. Like, it didn't matter. And then the funniest part was, so we were all...
or Ireland?
Ireland.
I need to go to
we
Ireland.
We were all drinking all night. And we all went to bed. We wake up in the morning. I mean, my friend has a 2-year-old, and so we all wake up, and she was actually pregnant at the time. And so we all wake up. Her 2-year-old comes banging on our door to wake me up because he thinks it's funny. And we go down to breakfast, and all the 80-year-olds were smashed the night before. They're like, hey, what's up? Can I get your life? Like, how did you just recover that fast? Because I don't.
Who do you think drinks more, the Irish or the Russians?
Ooh.
Russians.
At least more heavily. Vodka versus Guinness and whiskey.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think the Irish drink that much when they're by themselves at home.
No.
I
The Irish
absolutely
are so
believe.
The harsher winters, but also, did you ever have any Baltica beers?
No.
That was the one Russian beer that existed stateside, and I haven't found that in quite a few years now. They don't have names. They had numbers. Mm-hmm. They went from 1 to 15. And I haven't seen them in a long, long time with the Total Wines or the Frugal Dudes.
I think it's one of those things that...
I think sometime after 2010, like, the imports stopped.
Close.
And
close to Russia.
It was all very much, stouts, of course, but you would have enjoyed these.
Who drinks the most?
You haven't.
In the world. I know this because
Russia.
I just watched the video of what every country in the world is
the
best at and
Brazilians.
worst at.
What country drinks the
I don't
most?
think
What
Ireland
country?
drinks the most because I think they drink it very there's certain situations where they drink super heavily.
Whatever you think the answer is, you're wrong.
I want to say the Koreans.
No.
Dude, soju
It's not Korea.
will...
Look, it's not Korea.
Okay.
It's not
Yes, it
Ireland.
will.
And it's not Russia.
I've been there.
I want to say Czechoslovakia.
You're close.
Slovakia.
No.
Turkey.
Slovenia. Poland.
You're
Iran.
very close.
Romania.
Bulgaria.
Belarus. Oh, pardon?
Belarus as
that doesn't shock me.
I think they said it was 19 liters per person per year.
Yeah.
And that's a lot
Here's the thing.
because...
Also, you have to consider their drinking water as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you always have to
you
consider
better
that. That's why you always have to
hydrate.
when people are like, "Oh, they drank so much in the 1880s." I'm like, "Yeah, because that's the only thing they had to drink."
Would you drink the water in the 1880s? Because I fucking would.
probably.
I wouldn't drink the water in the 1980s.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
You've
that's the only
seen
thing
Back to
they
Future
have.
3.
Like,
That pitcher of water, that's some delicious mud right there. Wait, my house is on a well. That looks like
I grew
my
up on
water.
a well.
The reason you drank alcohol was because the water was unsafe.
Yeah, that's why
that's
it
been
came
running
about.
gag in Mexico, in Europe.
No, but my favorite thing is my favorite
okay.
thing is when people go to Mexico and they're like, "Well, I know I'm not supposed to drink the water, but I had ice in my drink and I got sick," and I'm like, ice is water? Did you not know?
Yeah. Well, you put ice in your, taco base or whatever.
Anything. You
it
put
was.
ice in your margarita. Like, you put ice in everything.
at least,
I'm like one
I
of
put
those
dry
people.
ice in my margaritas.
Well, I feel like
That's cool,
I
brother.
don't know, Karen, you might agree with me, but I'm one of the few,
Are those
few
carbon
people
neutral
who like my drinks
dry
room
ices,
temperature.
though?
Like, I like room temperature drinks.
All right, ladies.
Yes. Not.
Carbon neutral dry ice. Go.
I love it. Corin, we need to get your car history.
I don't know what that means.
My car history?
Okay, go.
Corin's car
Well,
history.
per the
So
Rhode
Colleen's had
Island
3.
Brewery.
I've had 3 cars. No, 4
4.
cars.
4.
She skipped over one because there
Ultima,
was nothing to say.
Sentra that I killed. Ultima I killed. No, Ultima I gave up. My mom took. Sentra I killed. I had the Rogue. And
The Rogue. You didn't go over the Rogue.
I did go over the Rogue.
You did?
She mentioned a Rogue.
I did.
But it got very usurped by the Pathfinder.
Here's what she said
because
about the Rogue.
I got the Rogue, I had a baby, and then I got pregnant right away. So
She needed a bigger car.
That's what she said about that.
I see so many Rogues at work.
Nobody's
I see
beat.
quite a few Pathfinders.
Nobody's beat mine and Steve's car.
We're tied for 11.
We're tied at 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I definitely don't have a lot
That's
of cars,
why,
but I definitely beat the crap out of them.
But by the way, Atlanta Tundra appears to have sold, but Richmond Tundra appears to still be there.
I'll go get.
And it's cheaper.
We'll go get it.
Yeah, I still need money, so
That's not what I said.
A big hindrance. Yeah,
that's not what I said.
Yeah.
I said we will go get it.
And Phoenix Tundra still exists.
All right, so Carin, what was your car history?
Boom.
My car history is actually kind of boring.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
This is
So in high school and college, I drove, and I did not own it. It was my parents, right? But I drove a 1997 Chevy Cavalier.
Ooh, yeah.
I still like the
can I
4-door or
give a
2-door.
fun fact about a Chevy Cavalier?
Go ahead.
Because
When I was 3 years old, I flew out
into the
of
microphone, rookie.
Okay, I flew out of the a Chevy Cavalier, and my sister had to grab my car seat and pull me back in because I was about to fly out on the Autobahn because I had figured out how to unlatch the child lock. Because back in the day, it used to be on the inside, not on the inside of the door. And so I figured out how to unlock it, and I flew out, and my sister had to grab me and pull me back in.
And
On a
that's why
Chevy
you're still
Cavalier.
alive.
And I am alive today.
Because of your sister. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And no thanks to GM engineers,
Yeah,
but
right?
there's a lot of quibbles with them.
There's some quibbles, but now back
2-door
to
or
Carin.
4-door Cavalier?
It was a 4-door Cavalier.
Okay.
It was teal blue.
I like
okay.
it.
Did you know those were sold in Japan as
As?
the Toyota Cavalier?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Had a
That was
Toyota
the
logo
Wait,
on the
are
front.
they
first
owned?
thing there.
I didn't know that.
No,
Yeah.
there was some
You're fancy,
shenanigans going on for a while between Toyota and GM, and Toyota kept making better product.
Wow.
That's how and why my Pontiac was Toyota manufactured.
So here's what I'll say about my Chevy Cavalier. Number one, it got I feel like everybody gets the dent in the trunk right under the place where the keyhole is. Mm-hmm. Everybody had a dent back
How
there.
badly are you stabbing your trunk, by the way?
Not at all. It's just it was
It
just
happens.
When
it's
the
just
grocery cart hits into the back because you're
Between
trapping a kid
that
on
or
your
the,
hip and a kid
the
in the car.
burgeoning.
This was
Look.
pre-kid.
yeah, it was.
Or-
So
that
Carin
would be-
was pre-kid,
This is
but
just
not
the
when she bought the
nature-
car.
Every car she said is pre-kid.
it's just
No,
the
I know,
yeah.
but
I
when
don't have
she
a
got
kid.
the car,
Well-
she could have had a kid before.
I-
Not she
no.
could have had
What?
it. Someone could
What?
have had a kid before that.
Car's previous life.
Before that, and then
Pause.
What about
I
the
am the
Cavalier
only
attitude
person on the
and you're
podcast
drinking
with
here?
children.
Oh my! Well, Kurt was on who?
Can
That's
I
true.
can I
So,
tell my Cavalier
Yes.
story?
Yes.
Tell it.
My
Go.
God.
Let's get
All
derailed.
right.
Yeah.
I had a Chevy Cavalier, 1997, teal blue. It had the dent in the back. This car hated me. The first time I drove it, I got my license. I got my license, okay? And I was driving the car with my dad, thankfully, in the passenger seat, and the entire electric system went out. All of a sudden, I was driving, and the dash started flickering with all the lights, and the car stopped. So I pulled over. I don't know what that was. It got fixed. Anyways, the next 7 years that I drove this car, it hated me. And it would stop on the highway. I multiple times had to stop on the highway with this car. Also, when I would brake sometimes, there would be a thumping sound in the trunk that nobody was able to figure out.
Did you have a person back there?
Nope.
What happened?
No, nothing. I
6
eventually,
years.
What?
hey, you two car guys, okay?
All right, go.
Finally, I took
Wait,
it.
did you tell
I
Sean
took
these
it into.
stories?
I did. Finally, I took it into a dealership. I was like, "There's something wrong with this car," and the guy was like, "Oh, I explained my symptoms," and he was like, "Okay." So we went out and we test drove it, and he was like, "I want you to brake at the same time that I pull the emergency brake on the car." And when I did, the whole trunk went. Doom, 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 doom.
E-brake
does
was
that mean?
sticking.
Huh?
Was the e-brake sticking?
No, nobody was ever. I mean, he knew what it was, but he wasn't able to solve it.
Oh.
What?
The tech
Okay,
at the
but here's the
dealership.
problem.
Did he?
I hate when they
No,
do this
nobody
stuff.
fixed it.
Because, so I have gone many times with Sean and Ian to a car shop to diagnose something, and they will tell them stuff. And then when I ask, and they don't tell me anything, I'm like, no, I actually would like to know, what's going on. And it's like they think like I don't care, but I'm like, no, it's actually my car. I paid my money for this. I don't care that you want to talk to them because they might know more.
Yeah. So gentlemen,
talk to me.
What was the problem with my Chevy Cavalier?
There's got to be something loose in the trunk.
No, well, if it's only the e-brake, most e-brake brakes are for the rear.
The e-brake went.
But yeah, it's absolutely. But
I'm not putting it on the spot.
Put brake on. It makes noise, and like he knows what it is, but can't diagnose it. Like, no, you don't. Don't say anything, Chad.
If it's rear, if it's in the rear, which I think it probably was because you said trunk.
Yeah.
It's a Cavalier, and it's generic motors from the late 90s. So it's probably drum brakes in the rear. So something was going on with the drum brakes in the back.
So here's here's what I truly believe. This car, and I don't believe in the extraterrestrial, right? But this car hated me. Mm-hmm. It had a mind of its own. It hated me because I then passed it on to my sister, and she had no problems with it. She nicknamed it, in fact, Bertha. That was the name of the car.
Yikes.
And she drove it.
Name.
No, she drove it.
The car liked the name better.
Taking Bertha for a ride does not sound like a fun time.
That's what she named it because it was old and steady and
3?
reliable.
Yes.
The fish that would eat you.
Oh yeah,
it was Big Bertha.
That was right.
Yeah, Big Bertha.
Bertha is not good.
No,
unless like a golf club, Big Bertha. Like that.
I had a Big Bertha.
Club. Yeah.
Yes.
That's had a few of them. Like
she had no
it's
problems.
It's not a good name.
No problems with this car. It tried to
was that Leah's car?
It tried to call me Audrey is my middle sister,
okay.
and then Leah is my younger. But it had no problems with Audrey or Leah. Okay, I remember once I drove up. I was driving, so I went to school in Chapel Hill. I went to UNC, and I was driving up the highway one day. Wow, go Heels.
Best school I dropped out of.
I was driving back to school for the semester. And I was driving up 85, okay, and I got to exit 102, which is
Hillsboro.
No. I got off. So I got a flat tile.
A flat tile.
A flat tile.
Those are really flat. How flat was that tile?
That's a very
flat tire. And I pulled off.
Westgate's walking.
And I decided I wasn't going to go down the highway anymore. I was going to take the back roads. I stopped in Mebane, North Carolina.
Mebane. What is Mebane?
Mebane.
Not quite Burlington, the Mebane of your existence.
It's spelled M-E-B-A-N-E.
I don't know what that means.
Mebane.
Mebane, you should look at a map to see it.
Maybe.
I've
never seen a map of North Carolina.
It's not worth it.
Is that not worth a trip? Am I not going there for an exciting vacation?
It's something, if ever you've driven to Raleigh, you've passed by or through it.
So I've never gone to Raleigh without going to Fayetteville first.
Oh, you've never crossed it then.
Long way to
Ian lives.
venture. Okay.
Or Ian's family lives now.
That's where Ian lives.
My husband lives that
that
way. I live out here.
No.
Is that how Preston and him know each other?
Huh?
Is that how?
Yeah, Preston.
Okay, like from
yeah, they went to. Okay, wait. This is my favorite story. So
I had no idea how far the clock back rolls. It's like they're both from Fayetteville.
Ian and Sean have been friends forever, and Ian.
Good, they should stay friends forever.
They were
dudes.
at middle school. They've been friends. So one of my favorite moments is that I pulled out one of Ian's middle school yearbooks before, actually, the year is before Ian and Sean met, and Sean has like 3-inch Coke bottle glasses on.
Whoa.
And I texted Sean immediately, and I was like, who's this guy? He was like, no, it was Sean with like 3-inch Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah, he had LASIK surgery about.
But they
7
didn't
years
know
ago.
each other. But what
years?
is weird? So Ian and Sean went to the same middle school, but they didn't know each other until they got to high school.
Well, it's like him and Zach. They didn't know each other.
Yeah. No, well, Zach lived next door to Ian.
Well, how many people
Sean,
do
they
you?
knew.
How many people
Sharpwall?
Like everybody we went like I can think of like my really good friends from high school.
I talked to
I
three
only-
people.
I
Yeah, like two or
I
like
talked
3
to
or 4
three
people.
that I started.
I
Yeah.
only talked to a couple people, but I know everyone I graduated with.
Oh,
I
same.
only graduated with like 250 people, maybe 300. Like,
Mine was about 270.
so
and
I know
was 300.
everyone, but I'm not friends with everyone.
I've got a dozen on Facebook I keep up with, and one I see almost regularly.
So I was in a weird position because my mom taught in the district that I went to school in. So my mom taught most of my friends.
Then you get to hear the everything. My mom's a nurse. And like, believe me, I had a baby. It's like,
more so,
don't get
like,
any
congratulations, I don't care.
More so, my mom never told me anything. It was more so my friends told my mom stuff, like, because they trusted her. So it was more like that teacher, like, relationship where they would be like, oh, this and this happened. They would tell her stuff more so than me. Because I was super, super innocent. Like, I didn't drink until I was like a sophomore in high school, and that was...
I didn't drink until
I didn't drink till I was 19.
I didn't drink till I was 21.
No,
you
no.
guys.
Wait,
20 and a half.
You ready?
20 and a
Ian
half.
didn't drink until he was 22
Pardon?
years old. He tried a Coors Light. Reason why? Coors Light when he was younger because his dad and his mom's from Wales, his dad's from Germany, so they drank early. And they gave him a Coors Light. And he hated it.
Well,
Who wouldn't
dislike
wrong.
a Coors Light?
Coors is really tame.
I started off on Kettle One, Jameson,
And Kool-Aid.
and Kool-Aid. And the beer was Warsteiner.
Ooh, that's a good starter.
Yeah, for what it's worth.
And he used to always get the keg, like the party keg you can fit in the fridge.
That's really funny you mentioned that. The other day at Aldi, just up the street from here, had a party keg of Fredensgrüner. That's Aldi's version of Warsteiner for $16.
Oh shit!
Yeah, too bad
George Nickel.
they close.
Part 2.
Oh.
They close in 15 minutes, but
This is hand-selected
I
barrel.
ka-tink,
Clink.
ka-tink, tink, tink, tink. Well, as I recall, that beer didn't suck. It's like,
No,
Wait, I
Warsteiner
know
is a
it-
pretty
That's got a
average
little more
beer. It's like
punch
a
to it.
It does.
But it's
yeah, it does have a punch.
Okay, guys. So
maybe
after
Pilsner's a lighter side.
my
of
Chevy
everything.
Cavalier,
after the cavi.
after my '97
Yeah,
Chevy
let's get
Cavalier,
serial.
Yep.
teal blue.
I like the teal blue though.
Oh, it was
That's
a pretty
good
color.
color.
Teal's a good color.
Not enough cars coming that now.
I, for a year, drove my father's Honda CRV
Year?
for a year because
No, what year?
it was a 2006, maybe.
Gotcha.
It was fine. But I drove it because I literally did not trust my Chevy Cavalier, so I gave it to my sisters who had no problems with it. And I drove his Honda. And then I moved abroad, so I didn't need a car for a couple of years. And then when I came back, I bought. First of all, I used public transportation
Can I
for a
ask
while.
a question?
Where did you go?
Where to?
How did you move when you were abroad? Like, how did you didn't have a car, so how did you transport?
So when I was in college, I studied Korean as a second language, and I had an extra semester. I was supposed to graduate early. I didn't want to, and so instead, I thought, you know what? Let me go somewhere that I really want to go. And so I loved Korean music at the time. I loved Korean TV shows and movies. Like, they were fascinating to me. And so I moved to Seoul when I was in college. And right after I graduated, I went back to Seoul and I spent a year there teaching English.
Oh, that's amazing.
And
I
so
love it.
there's no need for a car when you live in Seoul. Like,
Really?
so many other countries have such great transportation, but Seoul specifically, like,
And that's really ironic now, seeing how well the Korean automotive industry is doing stateside.
yeah, I mean,
That
seriously.
they've pulled the same Toyota Honda Cinderella story, in 30 years
Yeah,
on the
I
market.
mean, with the
Like,
Hyundais and the Kias
Yeah.
and all of that.
the
Like,
Genesis.
they're
that
fantastic.
They managed to make their own Lexus in a relative hurry as well.
Kara Naichingu.
Can we talk
Pardon?
about the? Can we talk about
My
the
friend.
Kia
friend. Like-
commercial with the hamsters?
The Kia Soul.
The Kia Soul.
The Kia Soul, oh, those
Yeah.
are terrible.
I would love to dress up as a hamster, like a
it's-
full body, and then just drive a Kia Soul around.
car for what it's worth. Strange looking car, but solid drivetrain, and it's boxy, so it's useful.
Yeah.
And
I don't like them at all,
it's kind of weird, but
I think it's
it
impressive.
has its merits.
I think it's really impressive that you were
And I don't
able to
want
go from such a motorized society that, like, North Carolina, I feel like cannot depend without the car.
Charlotte is a
Charlotte in particular.
Yeah.
And you were able to go to
Blue line,
Korea
one way.
and like handle mass transportation, because transportation, I mean, we've gotten better. 100% we've gotten better with mass transportation. But I feel like when you went, you were able to handle that,
20%.
and that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Korea's transportation, like public transportation, is fantastic.
Southeast Asia, Japan.
Southeast Asia, yeah. I mean, East Asia,
even Cambodia wasn't
East
bad,
Asia
was it?
fantastic. No, so
for the amount of
for
industrialization.
what I was trying to do in Cambodia and Vietnam, Thailand, like transportation was perfectly fine,
Right.
you know. But so I lived in South Korea for a couple of years, and I didn't need a car. And so then when I moved back to the States, I obviously needed a car because Charlotte transportation was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, and that's only like
Denver,
I didn't even know when I went to college when I went to college down here compared to Jersey. In Jersey, they were like, "Oh, you can just take a bus."
Yeah,
we took buses.
It doesn't exist down here.
And down here, it doesn't exist. Like, especially from Mint Hill or from like Pineville, like the bus stops aren't like as prevalent. Like,
if you take cats, you're gonna get rabies.
Well, okay, so I will say I had to, for teaching, I had to do I didn't have to, I chose to, do a course where we had to live our lives as if we were homeless.
Oy.
And it was the most incredible thing I've ever done. Saddest thing and most incredible thing I've ever done.
If you cry, I'm going to cry because I'm a crier.
No, I'm not gonna
so
cry.
don't do that.
What
I
were
promise
you
you I
gonna
won't
do
cry.
for food?
But I took a bus from Pineville. Actually, not from Pineville. I took a bus from Central Avenue, which is where I lived at the time. So nowhere near like anything that wasn't used to that, into downtown. But the thing is that got me is that I saw parents that I taught their kids from Mint Hill. I teach 2 miles from here. And I saw their grandparents, their parents at the Salvation Army, at the Crisis Center. And it was really intense for me because I was like, well, and they were like, but there's no good transportation, so I know if I just stay kind of out that way, my kids will be okay. And that's not okay. The kids that go to school down there should be fine, and the kids who stay out here should be fine, and you shouldn't have to really be thinking about that. But the fact that they knew, like, I remember a grandma coming up to me and going, Mr. Gutek, hey. And I was like,
Pardon?
Hey. And she was like, what are you doing now down here? And I was like, well, I'm just on this, like, weird tour. It was super awkward because I was on a tour, like, visiting things. And I was like, I'm just kind of, like, hanging out. But I think the thing, like, with Charlotte is weird to remember is that we are super close, but we are super far apart. And so, like, needs are really bad. And then, like, public transportation when you come back from other places is awkward. And,
yeah,
like,
I mean, it's super lacking. I mean, there's a reason that we're 50th out of 50th in terms of, like, cities with...
But we're the 15th biggest city in the United States now.
I mean, there's a reason.
Well, and we're bigger than Atlanta City. Like, Charlotte's bigger than Atlanta. Their sprawl is bigger. But imagine how much worse it is in Atlanta Metro.
But I think about the fact that, like, I feel like
unbelievable.
in Charlotte, like, so I think about in Charlotte, like, we're so close. That light rail, you could lock things up. Like...
Well, I think there's a bill right now that's, like, out for, I don't know.
Expansion of light
yeah,
rail.
The expansion of the
but
silver
blue line is doing what it can, but that was too little too late. And whatever you have for green, red, gold lines, all right, you're projected through 2030.
There's one supposed to go down to Independence. And I think there's one
down
supposed to
to
go down
Memphis.
Albemarle Road. So there's supposed to be the line.
That's the silver line, I think. That
I
they're
think so,
talking about,
yeah.
But I think people forget, like, this area, like Mint Hill, is not necessarily the most prosperous.
Well,
think about areas that
this
like,
area is,
No, but
if you
if
go
you-
up
But,
Lawyers,
like, listen, okay, so, like,
Albemarle
my-
Lawyers course,
closer
my-
to Independence,
my
high
school area Okay.
What
so
school do
there
you
are,
teach at?
I teach at
You
Clear.
don't need to
You don't
Clear
in
Creek?
Mint Hill. In Mint Hill.
say
In Mint
if you
Hill.
don't.
Yeah.
Right outside Mint Hill, right off Albemarle Road. But the thing is that half the kids are well off.
Mm-hmm.
Half the kids
Or not.
are not at all.
Mazel tov.
It survived.
I spilled one too.
It's over there.
No, it's at my foot.
There may or may not be
I
a
put it at my
splash behind. Like,
I have a microfiber.
Literally nothing.
So I think it's just
Right.
you have to realize
empty?
that there's effects. And so when people come from abroad and they're able to say, "Oh, I can get from here to here,"
It was empty?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So when people say that I can get from here to here so quickly, that's sad, kind of, when you come to the States.
Yeah,
Because we can get from there, but it's not as great.
I mean, it's not the same, right? I mean, I think a lot of other countries, Asia, certain parts of Europe, certainly, like they have really robust, like central public transportation systems that can get you where you need to go. And so definitely coming back from Korea to Charlotte was like, well, I need to buy a car. And so when I started working back in Charlotte, I decided to buy my first car that I had ever purchased. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with issues that somebody else has had to deal with. So I bought a new car. Guys, I was so excited about it. Shouldn't have been. Because I bought a 2012 Ford Focus. And it was the first year that it was the first year that the new model, right, from like Europe had come over for Ford for the Focus. And I am still in like a subject of a class action lawsuit about the transmission.
Stop.
Yeah.
Fucking transmission.
I've encountered a lot of these that you match the gas, it'll give you 10 seconds, and the side, do you want to go?
Yep.
Let's go.
Wait,
The James May effect.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
The bin.
Are you sure?
Yes,
So it's a
right.
what's
All right.
the name of this transmission? It's a continuous.
CVT, continuously
CVT.
variable transmission.
Okay.
So it's using a metal belt instead of gears.
So basically, it doesn't know what gear it's in, and so when it shifts between gears,
Isn't that the whole point of
So
the
it's
automatic
gearless.
shift?
So if you have a
But
6-speed
it's-
automatic transmission, it's like
Okay.
shift, shift.
Yeah, do I
shift,
wanna
shift,
be-
shift.
You don't recognize it.
Continuously
Yeah, but-
variable goes like, and it holds the RPM, so it's
doesn't it-
smoother, and it kind of
But then it jerks.
quietly
it-
settles down to a normal.
It doesn't know
RPM.
when to go from
Ideally.
park to
Ideally,
first
yes.
to second, so to
Go.
say.
Okay,
So
now I get it. Go by
so
ideally.
instead,
Go.
what the 2012 through I think the 2015 Ford Focus do is it does not recognize that it has changed between gears, and instead when it shifts gears it shudders, and so I'll accelerate and the car will go right, and it doesn't recognize what gear it's in, so it
shakes you.
shifts, right, it slides between
Okay.
gears. And so there have been a shit ton of problems with with the Ford transmission for these years. And mine has been, you definitely, when I accelerate, you feel the problems with the
It's
transmission.
kinda,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like-
kind of the effect of
you know,
nope,
like when you're
nope. All right, let's go.
When you're sitting at I'm going to turn left here, left turn lane, and I'm going to try and get ahead of the traffic that I see in front of me, you don't know if you're actually going to succeed because
Am
the
I
car
gonna
will,
make it?
yeah, because the
That's
car
scary.
might not take off. There have been other issues with it. I have not experienced the truly horrific issues that other people have, but definitely it shudders when it tries to shift gears, right? If I go on a road trip, for example, I'll go hundreds of miles right on the highway, no problem. The moment I have to stop at a stoplight and take off again, it resets itself to issues.
That's horrible. Why?
It's really
So
bizarre
you
that
feel like you're Okay, so this is what
CVT
I'm
is a
imagining.
rookie
You're at a
stick
stoplight
driver.
and it's like you hit the gas pedal and it's like
Yeah,
like you have to
yeah, I'm like-
it's
That's
not
exactly
good.
what it is. And so the thing is, like I said, mine have not been horrific issues. I have occasionally actually stalled out, which it's not, it's an automatic, right?
That's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
No, it is a thing.
It's a thing when you have issues with the fucking transmission.
Yeah, but it's
So I have stalled out.
not supposed
before.
to be a thing with
It's
an
not
automatic,
supposed
at
to be a
least.
thing.
This is
And
only
so
something for
that's
video.
been an issue, and people are watching. And
Teach.
It's fine.
Teach.
I'm
here-
agreeing that we're having a
Yeah.
spirited agreement.
A moment. But here's the thing. I wouldn't... No, don't get me wrong. I still have an issue with it, right? Like, and since I've met... I bought this car before Sean, right? And since then, Sean has been like, listen, here's my suggestion. Don't buy the first model as it comes out, because that you need time. Like, since 2016, they have fixed the CVT transmission, okay?
Yep.
But every
My car was
time...
for the only year they sold it stateside.
Every time I take my car in to the dealership, and I take it in a lot, right, to be like, hey, I have some problems with the transmission. Every time I'm like, oh, I'm having some shuttering issues, yada, yada. The people at the dealership go, oh, what? No. I'm like, you fucking know. Like, don't pretend. Like, there's no need to pretend. There's a class action lawsuit.
You're
like,
totally in the right to have your eye on a Lexus, by the way.
Uh-huh.
The Lexus RX and the NX,
Yep.
they look fantastic
NX are great.
to me. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that is my dream next car. Now it is expensive as hell, right?
Yeah.
So like, one
Treat
day,
yourself.
treat yourself.
Don't listen. We're bad influences.
Yeah,
We're bad
okay.
influences.
But
Well,
that's
one,
my.
I know
Hey,
her
Caleb-
fiance doesn't buy a car unless he's thought about it for 7 years.
Sean's been thinking about his next car for 7 years.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying.
To be fair.
well, he's got what we like to call a Wednesday car, the M3 that doesn't break.
yeah,
Because otherwise,
He bought the
that
world's
should have
most
broken
reliable
a lot.
BMW M3.
oh yeah,
Sean-
his car is great. Love it.
Yeah,
He also,
that's not normal.
I also,
That's not normal.
No,
I
but
don't-
here's the thing. Sean will ride a car till he kills it. His...
Hey, that's my last
Hey,
car.
me too.
No, but his Camaro...
Yours wasn't
it was
dead.
purple. I remember
True.
it. It was a purple Camaro.
Mine was
No, what's it Camaro?
near it.
But
Yours was near
he
it.
killed it until he's dead, and then he wouldn't buy a new car for like 3 years.
Do you know how many miles my Cherokee had on it before I sold it?
No, but I think it's okay.
347,000.
It's okay. I just think you have to own it. Like, you just have to
Oh,
own
I did.
that
I
vibe.
replaced
Like,
everything on it.
my Ford Focus. It's 2012. I bought it brand new. It's got less than 80,000 miles on it. Less than.
Right.
I
Goodness,
literally don't drive it.
My 16 has 68 and a half.
No wonder it doesn't have issues. I'm sorry, your what has what?
The Scion that I got back in April.
Yeah.
I've now taken it from 58 to 69,000 miles.
Gosh, that's like more than I put on my entire car.
And the
Yep.
and the
Not
only
really.
issue was a freak gas tank incident that was probably proof of its past life having been abused.
Yeah.
Because I
But
found
the
many
savings-
point.
Okay, I have a question.
Dude, I can't find another one on Car Gurus
You
for
won't be
under
able
10
to.
grand.
You won't be
I
able to.
have
it's
a
still-
question for you both.
Oh,
As
cool.
car
Oh,
guys.
Yeah, go,
Yeah.
go.
As
Yeah,
car
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Okay, because Sean and I differ on this, and I have a feeling you're going to differ with me too.
Probably.
But I am a big fan, and I understand the depreciation of value, right? The moment you drive it off the lot. But I'm a big fan of buying new cars so that you know the history, like 100%. Would you, either of you, ever buy a brand new car?
1,
No.
2, 3. No.
Okay, but tell me why? Because
Just sheer
beyond
cost.
like I appreciate older models, and like there's certain like cars that I'm looking for that have existed in the past. Like beyond that, no.
No.
No. It's like, at
Okay,
2
but-
I said no.
so
It's
tell-
just,
so tell me
Steve,
why.
you first. I have my reasons,
Okay.
but you first.
all right.
Like, I'm willing to
the
listen.
depreciation hit is absolutely a big point of it.
Yeah.
That I'm buying for less expensive. All right. Do you get a warranty with a new car? Fantastic. I would assume buy something with a good track record that, shouldn't go colossally wrong.
But I am the warranty
Yeah.
because I do my own work. So
And I've dabbled a bit with it. So, if you're not prepared for that, okay. But find yourself a good, inexpensive mechanic.
But Steve, didn't you have issues with your car that you just bought?
The biggest one was the gas tank issue. The other ones weren't, big issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, the mirrors are broken. The seats are torn out. I found a $13,000 car, had it been in better shape, for $8,000. Roll that dice, and I'm still happy with it.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it's fine.
Yeah.
Cosmetically,
all right,
it's not the best.
This is a scratch and dent special. But I got this car at 4 years of age for a 60% savings.
Yeah.
So it's real hard to argue that. Like, it starts, it runs, it'll allegedly break 100 miles an hour.
So in your viewpoints then, right, the depreciation far outweighs, right, any potential fixes that you would have to do to the car if there was an issue that you didn't know
Yes,
about.
but Steve and I very...
This is real funny with the next thing I'm going to say, though.
Okay.
I got a car that depreciated very badly. You don't.
I don't.
You simply have a high mileage thing that was found inexpensively, but my car is notably depreciated a lot because nobody gives a fuck about a Corolla hatchback. They keep building them. They keep building them the way that I want them, but the prices are falling off a cliff. Jeep Wranglers don't. You lucked out.
I mean,
Yeah.
Wranglers
That you
never lose
found-
value, right?
Yeah,
Like, you've
they've
had
never
yours,
lose value.
6 months? Like, it was 20. One with fewer
That
miles
was
would have
out
been 30.
the door tax tag title. I really paid like
Tax tag on fees, yeah.
$18,600 for it. So
Good nails.
Okay, so
Yeah.
but in general, both of you would agree that
Never- I'm never buying a new car.
anything that
No.
you could fix would far outweigh the depreciation that you would lose on a car buying it day one.
it took-
yeah,
new.
and
Mirrors, seat covers, and a freak gasoline tank seal.
Wait.
I'll go a
What do
step.
you mean better seat covers?
Mine was a bit defeated upon picking it up.
Before,
Mine
So when
was a
when
smoker's
I
car.
imagine defeated seat covers, I imagine like you getting like a pink little soft seat.
another thing, if I buy a brand new
they're
car,
green, thank
the
you.
minute, all right, so I'm
It was-
superficial.
Mine came cigarette burned. Like, it was a
You might
smoker's
wanna go
car.
pee.
So that already helped my case. That it's black seats, white roof and pillars, whatever have you. So it already came pre-pot marked, but I picked up a $20,000 car that would have been new in 2016
Okay.
for $8,000.
But do you see what I'm saying when you think of like seat covers? I'm thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, like super pink, like someone like,
Yeah, something
Yeah,
super
not-
fluffy and
Like
crazy.
Understood.
oh, I
Mine's-
just got this car. Like I have pink seats and I have a pink fuzzy steering wheel. And
Ugh.
You know what I'm talking about,
it's
though,
Yeah.
mine's a bit more subdued. It's black
is
with
it?
mac
Do you
with-
not have the lime green cover
Wait.
and the lime green seats?
they're not entirely lime green, but that's real funny you mentioned that.
That's actually,
Yeah,
it's
it is black with lime green stripes, and the steering wheel cover is kind of a silvery plaid.
Oh, I could do
It-
silvery
it-
plaid. That's not bad.
It arrived,
like when
you
you
know, a
add
bit
plaid, it
damaged,
subdues.
but yeah, it's at no point is this $5,000 worth of damage on this car that would have been $20,000 brand new, picked up for $8,000, 6,000 miles
I
on
think
it,
that's the
and I
crazy
put another
thing
10 on it.
When you think about cars, is they'll say like, "Oh, this is $5,000 worth of damage," or "This is this and this is that," and you're like, "Is it though? Is
Colleen,
it that much?"
The real kicker,
labor.
it had
Wait, no,
it had
because
a-
I am the asshole who goes and buys everything from the dealership because I'm stressed.
No, it's
See, look,
Stealership.
wait, you want to know why?
AJ, did yours
because
have a
my
clean Carfax?
Husband's best friend.
oh dear.
Would be Sean.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, mine had a
Won't
clean
help me because he hates me because I'm a brat.
I never got that.
Mine had a clean Carfax, and I've found many an evidence that this Carfax is not clean.
You work for Carvana, right?
Yes.
Carvana now.
Yeah,
So-
I cannot be
So-
bothered to buy one from them yet,
Told you.
since
Told you.
I've seen the everything going
okay,
through.
So my neighbor got a Mercedes SUV from Carvana,
Uh-huh.
and 3 weeks
Oh,
in,
I'm quite
3 weeks
curious.
in, she had to replace the brakes for $14,000. $1,400. Sorry, $1,400. Okay. Then she just messaged me and goes, Colleen, you know anyone who can fix brakes? And I was like, I don't. Because they're going to cost her another $1,400. Because she didn't look into
There's that jersey.
I learned.
I
learned my lesson on German cars a while back,
jersey.
and you
What
don't.
did I do? I don't even know what I said to Jersey.
Buy the fucking Lexus.
I'll say coffee and
Coffee.
really get excited.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. We'll talk about
Listen,
coffee.
We'll talk about. So I
Rhode
think it's
Island,
funny.
neither
So
road
she
nor
bought
island. Discuss.
Hold on. You really want me to get Jersey? I will.
They've got a warranty.
No, get her closer.
I will talk. Look, Steve and I can have many conversations.
Yeah, this could be
about
fantastic.
things.
Yeah.
But
This Mercedes can go fuck itself, you bastards.
my question is about why, when they sell cars on Carvana or wherever they're selling them from, where you get them and they just deliver them to you.
That's interesting.
Why do they just neglect the other things like brake work and things like that that may pop up? And I think that, so she essentially has now spent $2,800 on her brakes because she didn't realize they were bad on the car.
I got a feeling these guys should really pay their everybody better, including myself.
So
yeah, I agree.
It is the bare fucking minimum.
So Cara wanted to know why you didn't want a new
I'm
car.
so getting fired.
So-
If anybody catches this, but
I'll explain.
Oh my Allah! It's they're simply trying to flip stuff, and they've got the capital. I wish I could have bought Carvana stock when I started. It would be worth 7 times as much.
So, with Carvana, I think.
All I'm doing is finding shit wrong with the cars.
my
ready
sister
for
bought
No,
photography.
Carvana
immediately,
recently.
and you
She
made
loved it.
mention, why is there this fucking gummy bear right here, right? And I think that's weird. When you look at cars, if you looked at my car is in perfectly good shape. It really is.
What is Wasabi Piece doing here? Oh wait,
But-
I dropped those earlier.
No, but the thing is my kids drop shit
At least it's not.
everywhere.
At least they won't melt.
Which causes issues, and I think
Katink.
that people don't realize
yeah.
that it does.
Katink.
Cheers, you guys. We all have a different beer, I think.
It's all right.
Yep. But the thing is that I think with Carvana, I always crack up because, my neighbor, for example, she's like, I don't understand why my brakes don't work. I'm like, you ordered a car online.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I
But my thing
think
is, it
that-
was kind of cool when the car came, and I was watching
on
it
the
in my
weird little
driveway,
white-
and I
was
was
it
like,
on a weird
wow, the
white
Mercedes
flatbed?
just pulled up. But
I have a
in
question.
essence, I feel like there's no guarantee. When I got my car,
You have 7 days, not 21 days, unfortunately.
yeah, it's a weird thing, and then I feel like I don't.
And for what it's worth, my car took a month before it threw a
But
check engine
also-
light and it smells like gas.
None.
Oh shit.
Here's what I think, though. In that sense,
Well, you had freak Vaseline and broken glass, so your mileage
Broken
still varies.
in that sense, here's the thing. Right, you guys are mechanically inclined, right? You will work on cars. We are not. And so for us to buy a new car that we know that we don't have
Emily,
to have worries
You
with,
should get
Emily's the same way.
CRVs.
Yeah.
and I think that's a hard thing.
I think that's the difference.
And here's the thing. I honestly think that more car manufacturers should go towards women because
Saturn did.
No, well,
They did.
I
Subaru
think,
did, but in a different way.
In a different way.
no.
Subaru
But my
went,
thing is, if
Yeah.
because I hate going in and having to try to explain something, and I used to have Sean and Ian. I'd be like, okay, prep me. What do I have to say when I walk in? Because I would walk in and say one thing, and I would send Sean or Ian, either one, in, and they'd be like, oh, we'll give you $45 off, and I'm like, what the heck?
Look. I would rather a woman explain to me what's wrong with her car than a man. Do you know why?
Why?
The woman will explain to me what's wrong with the car and the sound it makes. The man will explain to me what he thinks it is
wrong. Yeah.
Well,
I think there's a
but
problem
why,
with the
then
carburetor.
why
Yeah,
is
I'm
when
like,
I go into
AJ.
a car dealership that's more expensive. Like, I legit will never take my car, and Ian, even he'll go, like, we did this last Saturday. I took the girls to Irish Dance, and he goes, I want to take your car to get it checked out for your oil change. And I knew I needed new tires. And I was like, oh, I need new tires. I knew I did. And I knew if I went in, they were going to be like, you need new tires, da-da-da. And I said to Ian, they're going to say, I need new tires.
And yours is an all-wheel drive, isn't it?
All-wheel drive, yeah.
Therefore, you need 4.
Okay, wait.
You need 4.
And I was like, so be prepared, because the last time I took it in, they said needed new tires. And my thing was, well, I'm just driving to Mint Hill. It's fine. We're good. Okay? Ian takes it in. They go, oh, your tires are great. Okay? And I was like, that's really interesting concerning the last. And I pulled out the paperwork that said the last thing was like, oh, you need new wheels.
Pardon?
That's weird. Like,
yeah, saw the wheels too. Did you hit
not
curbs
new
on the
wheels,
way?
but
Oh,
new
goodness.
tires. And I think that's like weird. Like, why is that so different?
No,
like, that's stupid.
We've done this a few times, but it's been cosmetically.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's definitely an assumption, right? That like as a woman walking into a dealership, you know less than a man, and like I can't like dispute that fact.
Yeah,
like
Kaylin
Sean,
had a CRV. Like
Right.
nothing goes wrong with it.
Right.
It's been hit front and back and gotten hurricaned upon. It's all been remedied, but holy shit!
Do you know the reason before Karin went to the WC? One of the biggest reasons I will never buy a brand new car is because I'm so superficial that if I buy a brand new perfect car, the minute I get a scratch on it,
You don't care about it
I don't
anymore?
want to fucking care about it anymore. If I buy one that already has a scratch, I can fix the scratch and I can tweak it. But if I already spent all the money on it, and it's already depreciated, like now I've bought so much shit for that. I bought so much shit for the Wrangler and the Cherokee. All the 11 cars I've owned, I buy shit for. I can fix it and make it back perfect again for a lot cheaper than it came. Like the moment I drive it off the lot and appreciates $5,000, and then I get a scratch on it.
You bought a teddy bear for a Maxima, dude. What are you talking about?
No, I bought stuff for the Maxima. The Maxima was fun. And by the way, like out of your 11 cars, how many have been stick?
All but the 240 and the beige truck and the Blazer. So
all but 3.
So
all
8
but 3.
of them.
So
All but
8
2
of them.
All but 2 of mine. All but 2 of mine have been stick.
By the way, I'm not an asshole about much, but what I'm going to
So-
drive.
Same.
So here's my question. So, Steve, there's one memory I have of you. It's
dear.
the most poignant memory in my head. Okay, you ready? Is of you drawing a unicorn on a napkin.
Ooh.
That is one of the first
Steve's like
memories I
draw a
have
lot,
of you.
though.
This is
Yep.
one of was.
Can you duplicate it?
Oh,
Can
like
you
a
draw
challenge.
a unicorn right now?
I used to draw in high school.
I'm going to say
Dragon.
no, but I'll draw a different, more special unicorn.
Oh, draw me.
For what
Do
it's worth,
it.
it's going to become.
I feel like it might be okay.
It's going to be an elephanticorn.
Elephant?
Because I've been
Sure.
inspired
Is that an
by
elephant
Karin's
that's also got
short.
Can you put
I
a
will say, because when we used to drink,
you put a
so
hump on it
back in the
for
day when
camels?
we used to drink
hump day?
together.
Here we are. We're still drinking.
I know, still
So,
drinking. But back in the day, you used to always draw me pictures, and that was
Yeah.
the one thing that I remembered the most is the unicorn that you drew me. So I feel like you should recreate that.
Okay,
My
so
life.
while Steve redraws this unicorn, so as you know, AJ,
We're morphing it up.
or
It's
I'm
an
sorry, as you
elephant-
draw a
it's
new
an
Elephant,
A nude.
unicorn,
as you draw a new
yeah,
unicorn.
superhero. Go.
AJ, as you
Yeah.
know, I have been considering for the last year potentially buying a new car. Right, which it's been very difficult because on the one hand, it's the Ford Focus, which is shit. But on the other hand, I don't drive it very much.
Can I add it? On the other hand, her fiance has never bought a new car within 8 years.
Yeah, that's true. So he's
Something
still driving his
happening.
M3.
So
but I can't actually drive it. I don't drive stick. And Sean has been willing to teach me, but not on his M3.
You can drive the Wrangler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're going to offer it to me?
Wait.
Yeah.
I would pause. I would pause only because Sean might not let you because I dropped a transmission.
It's not his car.
I know it's not his car,
That's
but
how he feels about it.
I didn't drop his transmission, but then he wouldn't let me ever drive his car.
So my mother has a what is it? It's one of those spaceship cars. It looks like a spaceship. Is it the Fiesta? No, it's not the Fiesta. It looks like a spaceship.
I'm going to need a little more descriptive.
It's blue.
Oh, now I know.
The blue Fiesta. That is okay. So wait, can we?
You
talk
say
about,
spaceship car, I'm thinking like 2012 Civic. Because
Wait,
they look
can we
very
talk-
spacey.
Wait, let's talk about random cars that
Hold on.
people have driven. So Ian drove a Honda, and it
That's
was
so random.
half.
It's a Fit.
Oh, Fit.
It's a Honda Fit that my mother
But he
drives.
doesn't fit in a Fit.
No,
my mother
Ian
drives
drove
it.
a really
okay.
small car. It was a Honda Elantra. Yes,
That's Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Elantra, and it was super tiny. And they were like, "Oh, you'll fit in the car." And then his chiropractor told him that he had to get a new car because his back didn't fit in it.
I mean, he'll fit in an Elantra the same way
No.
that I would fit in that giant Pop-Tart box behind you.
Listen. Ian in a Elantra.
Wait, look at this box.
No, I know. No,
Where did you get this?
Relevant.
Where did you get it?
From work?
Was it a display?
Yeah, I wouldn't let him throw it away.
that's
And it has
amazing.
nutrition facts on the side. I'm like, yeah, I bet you that thing doesn't have 200 calories.
Wait,
Okay.
hold on. I need you to start getting me things from work.
Okay. Yeah, see? It's a
Also-
replica, like...
Also, so
It's an actual box.
Yeah.
I
Replica.
gotta talk to you after we're not on the air, but only because there's
the
things.
map of Africa, which nobody's asked about yet.
No, wait. Why does that
I've
matter?
looked at this
Only
map.
because it's not accurate. But
It is? No, it's accurate from 1965, which is when it
okay,
was
no,
from.
wait,
Your
wait.
map?
Here's a
Yeah.
great story.
Look,
so
it's
I
not
am,
even Egypt. It says United
Wait.
Arab Republic. It's an
Wait.
old
It doesn't
map.
have South
Wait.
Sudan.
Yeah.
Wait,
It has United Arab
Yeah.
Republic.
I am a teacher, and I had to teach countries around the world, and I had to go. Okay,
Let's do capitals.
We're all gonna choose a country.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can name all the
Hold
countries
on.
of the world, but not the capitals.
And I had to choose a country. We're all gonna talk about countries around the world.
Okay.
And I pulled down the map. Okay. Pulled down the map. And my kids are like, I'm picking this, I'm picking that. And they're like, Miss Shakuta, can you print out? Like, because I was like, oh, I'll Google it and I'll print out information that you can read. 95% of them didn't exist.
Nice. How old was the map?
It was from 1982.
That's from 65.
And
so-
I go, and my kids were like, "But why is that country still there?" And I was like, "I don't know, because it's before I was born. I don't know."
Southwest
I can
Africa
only imagine
is not a country
if-
anymore.
I know. That's
I can only
from
imagine-
And
65.
that's like the big thing. Like I have to like teach
Yeah.
facts and things like
Rhodesia.
that, and I'm like, it's not around anymore.
Uh-huh.
So let's move on. Because I'm like right now, I'm teaching a big unit about frogs. Weird as it is to say, my whole
The
literacy
Alice in
unit is about
Chains.
frogs. But you have to be careful because are they from Africa? Are they from South America? Are they from Central America? Are they from the Sudan? Are they from Niger?
Why do people say the
And is
Sudan and
Niger
the Ukraine?
pronounced-
It's just
No,
Ukraine.
the United States.
It's just Ukraine and Sudan. It's not the...
I love you. Wait, can we?
Oh, it's an elephant unicorn. I'm sorry, what did you call it?
The that's why I wrote it down.
Uniphant?
Elicorn.
Elephanticorn.
Okay, hold on. We haven't talked about one of our subjects this evening,
Yeah.
which is songs
Oh, it's
from
songs,
1980.
1980. In
right, so-
honor of episode 80. By the way,
Okay.
did you
go ahead.
know that you would have this much to talk about? 2 hours and 38 minutes
Nope.
worth?
Do you hate us?
No.
No.
All right, go.
No. Every time we have guests,
Hashtag
they're like, I
they
don't...
thought they hated girls, but they love us.
Well,
Hey.
no. Most guests we have are like,
One's
we
married
don't
to one,
know
one's
what we're
gonna be
talk
married to
about
one.
for
Oh
an
my
hour.
god.
It always goes this long.
Colleen and I had no such worries because we knew that just the two of us talking, without the two of you, we could make it 3 hours.
Of course. And Steve and I could make it like 9 hours if we didn't have to work in the morning.
So the four of us together is an endless.
This is
Well,
one of the most
combined. Someone's not showing up to work tomorrow. Oh, kittens.
Who's that?
Kittens.
I got to work tomorrow too.
I have to work.
I have to
6:30 a.m., 6 a.m.,
5:30.
5:30
Oh, 9.
p.m.
Listen,
Hashtag corporate America, you guys.
I've worked for corporate America too, but in a different way.
In a different way.
I kill myself
me 3
physically.
in a tertiary way.
Songs from 1980.
Okay,
I
songs
don't
from
know what I'm
1980.
doing, but it's a lot of it.
Steve walks warily down the street with his brim pulled way down low. What is it?
if we sing, or is it?
Another
sing all
one
the
rides the
songs?
bus.
Another one bites the dust. 1980.
Another one
Are we
bites
allowed
them
to
too.
sing and not get in
Another one
trouble?
bites the
I got all the
We
equipment.
probably
to do that.
should have done the music first because now I've
We're
had
really
enough to
off
drink that
pitch.
I'm
It's
just
fine.
going to sing all the songs.
That's fine.
Okay.
Call Me from Blondie.
Apparently, that was the number one song for that year.
Yeah.
Which
Here's the thing
it's awesome,
though.
and
So
2, Danny Warhols did an awesome cover of it.
Yeah.
It's very heroin down, man.
But here's the thing: none of us were alive for that song, and
Nope.
all of
He was
us.
almost alive.
All of
I
us
miss it
know
by
that song.
miss it by 23 months, y'all.
was a
flash
machine. She kept her motor clean. She was the best damn woman that
Ever seen?
should
That
we-
is the like you're on a swing at a bar. Like that's what I think.
Shook
of.
Me All Night
Yeah.
Long was 1980.
Right? Like you think you're at
That is one of the
the
few albums I have
Bar
on vinyl.
Charlotte
Nice.
on the swing.
That I bought at Aldi.
singing. That's what I think it is.
I bought
Right.
that on
Wait, share what you're doing.
Colleen. I
What?
bought that on vinyl from Aldi. Yeah, because for a while they had. Well,
Wait,
every so
no.
often they have vinyls. Like I bought it like a
Aussie
new
and-
repro for $9.
There's my Jersey accent if you
I'll
wanted
wait.
it. Aldi.
Oh wait.
The Aldi.
Aldi and Lionel.
Yeah, the fucking fancy Volkswagens. I bought it for the fucking Volkswagen.
Listen, Aldi and Lidl will honestly
Be
give
the
you-
death of us all.
Yeah, it might be the death of us all, but they will honestly like give you some good tracks, like because they go back in the day and they're like, oh, these were honestly good, so we're gonna bring them back, and you get them from dirt cheap.
Yep. Yeah,
And vinyl's coming back,
and
like in
for
a
what's worth,
way.
like you can walk to a used record shop from here. Here at 8:30 p.m., they may be closed, but there's one really close to here, and there's also one in Matthews that it's like they have dollar. Like I raided the dollar bin one day just to pick up random shit. I can't tell you what it was, except I went very Lionel Richie heavy because you do.
Yeah, you do. I think it's like one of those points where you just kind of like, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this.
Yep.
And when you pick out vinyls, it's very different.
Yeah.
It's like you have to
And,
pick out things like you're like, I have to like it or I'm gonna die because I have to listen to it 1900 times.
I'm perfectly happy with my broken Bluetooth stereo.
I will say, I do not have a
it-
vinyl, which is like kind of weird thinking about
I have a
it.
record player downstairs.
I don't.
Because I was like, I'm like a
I did-
huge punk
I'll
fan.
show you, I'll show you.
I'm a very like old school. Like I don't listen to a lot of like.
dude,
I'm
I'm
very, like,
very punk
I saw my
heavy.
Vans on my
That guy.
punk
That
heavy.
guy.
I'm very much the punk metal thing here. He's
Yeah.
very much the grungy one, but I'm also the grungy
I
one.
was
so.
more like,
but he also
Flaggy,
knows the
Molly,
post-grungy
Dropkick
ones.
Murphys. I know they're all Irish bands,
Uh,
but I am like that's
you like
my,
what you like.
You do.
Once upon a time, Ancestry.com thought I was Swedish, so I need to more embrace my ABBA.
Yeah, my biggest thing is
Which-
I do need to honestly
ABBA
do
in the
an
1980s.
Ancestry.com because
They had a
I-
couple of big songs.
The Totes, my sheep.
You got a couple movies that are about that.
Oh,
The
my.
winner takes it all.
All Out of Love from Air Supply.
I'm all out of love.
Yeah.
Air Supply. Air Supply is, I think, one of the biggest scams.
What?
Okay, are you ready for it? You want to know why?
Sure.
Because they play on everyone's emotion. So Air Supply is one of those things where they took parts of everyone else's songs and made it where it killed your heart. So, like, they took songs and they, like, turned it and they played it and they made you, like, be like, oh, I love you. You're breaking my heart. And then...
Are you saying they're suffocating if you don't listen to
There's no air supply.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, because I feel like it's like...
That,
I'm coming out.
No.
I want to know.
No, Donna Summers.
Let it show.
Not Donna Summers.
It's Diana
Diana
Ross. No,
1980.
you cannot compare. Not compare.
the most awesomely dark band name ever.
Coming out.
Love will take us apart.
Because
Joy
I'm
Division.
Coming Out
Yes,
is still
Joy
a
Division.
song that is played
This-
to get people hyped.
Love will tear us apart.
This
The
good
Tide is
bro.
High from Blondie.
Oh.
Tide is high, but I'm moving on. I'm gonna be your number one. Yeah.
Number one.
Yes.
All right.
Blondie
Wait.
had a lot of songs.
Dun.
Wait,
Dun-dun.
well, that song was like...
It was in
else?
freaking what Hillary
Number
Duff.
one.
What is that show that was in
Ugh.
Hillary Duff that they played that?
Hannah Montana. No.
not
That
Hannah
was-
Montana. But they played it
Hold
on
on.
a Hillary Duff show, and I was like, oh,
What
What was she on?
Oh, shit. It was,
I don't remember.
not Hannah Montana, but,
Not
Lizzie
Hannah.
McGuire.
Lizzie McGuire, yes.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm gonna be
Eh.
your
Eh.
number one.
The Lizzie McGuire movie
Yes.
featured that
Next
song.
we have name the. All right, so I'm gonna do the
All right,
guitar
go,
riff.
go,
Okay, okay.
Dun 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 dun. Fire away.
Hit me with your best shot.
Pat Benatar.
Why don't you hit me
Yes.
with your best shot?
And next, in 1980, Steve.
God, I feel like I need
Steve,
to move this mic away.
when a
Let my love over the door.
you're not listening to it.
Let my love over the door.
Colleen,
to
you're
your
not,
heart.
Colleen, you're
I know, but I don't
but
wanna
I'm not. You're not
listen
listening
to
to
it.
it.
It's presented.
Steve and I are.
What
but
are you singing?
I don't know. But
next
I-
up, Steve,
Okay,
when
go.
a problem comes along, you must.
Solve it.
Nope.
Whip it. Whip it
Whip
good.
it good.
Whip it.
Na 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 na.
Whip it
That's
good.
way better than this awful Not Quite Who track.
Huh?
So, Devo,
Yeah.
Mark
Uh,
Mothersbaugh,
Whip
the
it.
lead singer and
Whip it.
songwriter.
By the way, I'm running out of time to go to Mexican over doing Mexican.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So,
Yes, please.
in Devo, they're only up until 9, right?
Oh,
Probably.
we have problems.
So the singer Mark Mothersbaugh did the musical scoring for Rugrats.
Oh, the Rugrats.
Yep. So all the Rugrats music was Devo.
Tommy Pickles. Got it. I love it.
And Angelica. And Lilo and...
We could just order Mexican and
Stitch.
have Emily go pick it up because
Not
she would
Lilo,
love
it's
that.
Stitch.
Past her bedtime.
They close at 9?
I'm
I
gonna
don't think so.
keep
I think
on
they stopped serving
loving
alcohol at 9 because of
you.
COVID. But they're probably still open.
They're-
It's the only
well, he might be
thing I
running out
wanna
of time to get
do.
Mexican for the
Something like
missus.
that.
I think that was what you were getting
I
at, right?
don't wanna sleep. I'm just gonna keep on
Is that what you were getting at?
for you.
Is that what you were getting at, Steve? You were running out of
Okay.
time for bringing the wife Mexican?
Yeah,
here's
too.
here's my thought on 1980.
Yeah, it's
since you
just
assigned it to me.
it's 8:30, so if we're gonna do this, it better be quick because she's like, "Hey, you still doing dinner?" It's like, gonna have to be a to-go order at this rate.
What's the name of the place called?
Taxco.
Mexico. Which,
Terrible name, awesome
by
food.
habit, is a great place for
Oh,
you
yeah,
to
they're
go
open till 10.
when you're on a work day.
They're up until 10.
No, but when we teach our work days, that's where we go.
Texco or
Nice.
Taxko. Taxco.
You give me a great
What we were
figure
talking about
out, I
earlier
love
with
that.
the letters, making the funny noises.
Texco.
Ekis. Say all. Or if we do French, it would be te,
Don't do it.
te,
Look at your side.
egris,
Go ahead. What are you trying to say right now?
se, Taxco. Taxco.
Texaco.
Oh, I was spelling it.
Oh.
I was doing French.
T-I-X-C-O.
It's
Texical.
say
German. Well, I guess that's the cue then.
All right.
Thank
How
you guys
fun.
for having
How
us.
fun
I
is-
hope we were okay.
Colleen, 2 hours and 48 minutes. Did you think that was that long?
Nope.
Should we
It goes by quickly.
Should we get Asian food?
Cheers.
Should we turn Japanese? I really think so.
That was on there. We should do 80 songs again.
Oh, I would love to do
The Whiskey Chicks.
Don't stand so close to me.
Follow Carolina Whiskey Girl.
Yeah, follow Carolina Whiskey Girl on Instagram. That's a great place to do it.
That's true. And Steve runs our Instagram, but it sees little to no.
Kind of want.
And I don't have an Instagram.
I've got a hungry.
I don't have one.
I have a hungrier stomach than a
What is
hungry
yours?
heart.
Carolina Whiskey Girl.
Yours is Carolina Whiskey Girl. Yours is?
Nothing.
No,
Just the two of us.
Yours is Carolina. Okay. I don't know why, but when Mac was on last time, I
She's
heard
so cold.
and I thought it was Colleen, but yours is Carolina.
me.
Because it used to be CBG.
So
She
I
has
have
that too.
I have my personal one, and then Carolina Whiskey
Because
Girl
this
is
is
my
CBG.
Is my
That's
non-personal
entertainment.
Yes, it is.
one.
CBG is her real Instagram.
That's my real
and
initials.
Carolina
It is.
Whiskey Girl is her
So
professional
that one time you
Instagram.
got CBGP on CBGP.
Hey.
This has been an absolute delight. You guys were fantastic.
We had a
This
great
was
time.
so much fun,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
we got to do this again sometime soon.
Yeah.
And so, Carin and Colleen and Steve, episode 80's in the books, and we'll see you later. I'm AJ,
I'm Steve.
and good night.
Y'all haven't heard Toodles in a while. I think this warrants it.
Toodles.
Toodles.
Oh my Allah.